Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, one and all, to the grand finals of the Run the Streets tournament for APB, a 3 vs 3, presented by CET, the Community Events Team. I'm your host, Kempington, and I'm with my co-host once again for one last day, Shini. And today, have we got a match for you? This is the one we've all been waiting for. You were all eager on Friday to watch this. And just before we start, we're just going to have a quick reminder, as you can see on screen, as to what teams have made it where and the journey they made along the way. So as we saw, God Complex and NIP actually had the hardest run of the tournament, as they had the most matches to fight, both of them. But they battled their way through their first round, God Complex getting a convincing win against Abstract, and NIP, for their first match, struggling quite a bit against 125, who were able to take it into overtime and lead at one point in the match, with NIP finally pushing through and overcoming the odds. After that, we had the second round of matches, including Patevis versus God Complex, Friday Fahrenheit versus Currency, NIP versus Big Drummer Boys, and Speed Tracker versus Sharp CO. And unfortunately, the scoreboard or the scoreline does not reflect the difficulty of the matches. God Complex had a bit of difficulty against Patevis, but started to walk away with it in the end. Friday Fahrenheit really had a struggle of a match against Currency. Currency really put them through their paces, and the scoreboard does not reflect how well Currency played, but they were not able to make the last critical moment of the match count, which was the last stage, and subsequently fell at each moment. NIP had a bit of a match against Big Drama Boys, but once NIP got into the swing of things, they really started taking off. And Speed Tracker pretty much dominated Sharp CO, unfortunately. It was a very one-sided match, that one. Sharp CO were able to take a match off Speed Tracker, but too little, too late. Moving on to the semi-finals, we had two fantastic matches of God Complex versus Friday Fahrenheit. Friday Fahrenheit, at least by myself and a couple of others, were expected to get to the finals, but perished with quite a hard-fought victory for God Complex, winning against them 4-1. God Complex took very good control of the match near the end and were able to separate the individual team members of Friday Fahrenheit and prevent them from supporting each other. Whereas NIP took on Speed Tracker, and Speed Tracker showed a lot of promise in the early matches, giving NIP something to think about, but eventually NIP pulled their socks up, and started working together and managed to pull through, to scrape through and get through to the finals. And as we saw on Friday, it was a match between Friday Fahrenheit and Speed Tracker. A bit of a controversial one, as we did have a penalty for Speed Tracker for the use of a banned weapon. And that was all that was needed for Friday Fahrenheit to take this away, but Speed Tracker didn't go down without a fight. It was a very close match, and it did go to overtime, where Friday Fahrenheit were able to win back-to-back the overtime matches, getting them and solidifying their third place in the tournament. But now, we've got the match that really matters. God Complex versus NIP. Let's have a little look at the lineup one last time to see who is playing today and what the stakes are, basically. So here we are. The players don't really need that much of an introduction. For God Complex, it's Huizness, Skippy and Yuriku as the team captain. The point of view for God Complex will be once again Yuriku, which will be his feed open. And for NIP, we have Infi back again, Scanter and Potsu as the team captain. Scanter will be the point of view for NIP, I believe. We're just waiting for his feed to come online. Somberlane did sub in for the semi-finals, but he's not here today. So we've got the original team of NIP fighting off against God Complex. Now, Shini, we've seen how both these teams work. We've seen how well they succeed and where their weak points are. Who do you think's got the upper hand in this one?
I think God Complex, in the long run, will probably, I think the odds are in their favor to win. It just depends, how long it will take for them to wake up, because they usually have a stumbling start. From the previous matches, they don't start out so well, but they eventually get their engines going and they just start steamrolling through. So the question is, when will they wake up? And if they can do it early enough, great. But if they don't wake up until later on, would they have the strength to persevere and win in the end? It's crucial that they play well from the get-go. They mustn't let NIP must not give them any room to breathe at all.
Absolutely. From NIP's perspective, what I've at least witnessed is their defence can be a bit flaky at times. Their counter pushes and counter attacks once they've lost a point can be incredibly fast, aggressive, and successful. But God Complex's defence is nothing to scoff about. It is incredibly strong. My main concern is that NIP also have the issue of getting started. Now, they didn't waste any time against Speed Tracker in asserting dominance, and their first round was incredibly good showing, but Speed Tracker rose to the occasion. The one thing I've noticed is both these teams are incredibly flexible at changing strategies on the fly to approach the situation differently and get the upper hand where necessary. NIP have always risen to the challenge. They've always started off a bit slow, maybe underestimating their competition a little bit before they start really working together and solidifying the wins that they need. I don't know if they're going to take that chance this time round, and I don't think they can afford to do so, because as we've seen, once God Complex get going, it's very hard to slow them down once again. So I don't know. What do you think, Shini? Do you reckon they're going to start off slow, or are we going to see NIP go full throttle right at the start?
I'm not sure. I think I think the intelligent way to play it is just to probably play it a little bit passively from both teams. See how see how they react, see how they play it. I think going into the match, there might be some early jitters going on, so people might not want to play full yet. I think early on it's going to be a bit shaky, but by the second match, I think that's when this should get interesting.
I guess it'll all matter about who attacks first, who gets that initial boost of confidence. Because winning on an attack, we've seen both these teams do some crazy things. And at least God Complex's first match, if people recall, both sides were winning their attack stages comfortably. In fact, and God Complex and Abstract won their very first attack mission each, both failing to succeed on a defense. But finally, God Complex pushed through. And were able to win a defense, and that was the tiebreaker that they used to break ahead and get ahead of Abstract.
I think at this stage, this is the final now. Regardless of attack or defend, every single team has to treat every stage as if it's an attack. Even if it's a defend, they have to really concentrate and not like, oh, I'm defending behind a wall, I can chill out. No, they have to treat it exactly like an attack mission now. This is the last match. Can't give them any chances, and you can't hold back, I think.
Absolutely. I think this is the match where whatever tactics and strategies they've employed in the past, or however they like to take it, this is the match that matters. If they're going to bring their A game and they're going to bring all the cards onto the table, now's the time to do it. No more tricks, nothing left behind. Use everything at their disposal.
Yeah, I don't misconstrue what I'm saying is play too aggressive or like a bonehead. I'm just saying should not give them a chance. Play passively, but at the same time, smart. Only attack if you know you've got the straight advantage and you can kill them. And don't give them any chance whatsoever. I think that key for both teams to understand that for every, regardless of it being an easy defend, just play as sweaty as you damn can.
I think, yeah, I was actually going to ask, do you think both teams are going to play respectfully, or are we going to see some ultra aggression early on from both teams?
I think both teams at this point will respect each other enough not to pull out some over big, crazy plays. I think the only thing we can probably expect is, maybe they'll do a blowtorch thing at the start, and once that's done, then it's gonna go full serious. But other than that, I don't think there's gonna be some toxicity. I just think they'll just kill them dead and make it as clinical as they possibly can. I don't think they're gonna do silly stuff at all.
No, I think this is the crunch time for both teams, and this is the make or break moment. They have to put everything on the line here. They can't afford to not take risks, essentially.
what I want to ask is, do we still have the wait for the APB gods to give missions today?
I am not sure about that one. We'll find out shortly. It looks like initially we may have support once again for missions to be auto started, so we can have a much smoother final missions today. But we'll have to wait and see once both teams get started here.
All right. So with that in mind, maybe we should get a poll up on which team will play more. Which team would choose, a blind justice-esque mission more than the other team? Maybe that's something that we can expect.
Well, speaking of polls, I do have the votes in, the final votes in from you, the community, on who you think will win this tournament. And while it is a much closer vote than we've seen most of the time here, it is in favour of NIP. God Complex are only trailing slightly. It's only a 57 to 43% lead for NIP, but people do think that NIP will be the champions of this tournament by the end of this match. I would have agreed with them comfortably earlier in this tournament and would have no doubt in my mind. But after seeing what God Complex did yesterday, what God Complex did in the semi-finals against Friday Fahrenheit, which were arguably one of the teams I had in the finals on my scorecard, I'm not so certain anymore.
No doubt about it. I have my chips surely betted on God Complex prevailing. Honestly speaking, no disrespect to NIP, but God Complex have really the momentum on their side.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And just for the viewers at home, we're just waiting for the last feed to go live for NIP's side. We're just waiting for their team to get their feed and recordings ready to go. And while we wait for that, I'm going to try and get some more information for you. But I think the most important thing here will be which team gets that initial confidence first. Which team comes out of the first match going, regardless if it's a winner or loss, going, okay, I know what we need to do here. Because as soon as one of the teams has a good idea and have kind of learnt what the opposing team is going to do before they do it, and they've got their number, that's going to be more important. So even if they concede the first round, it'll be, if they know how the teams are going to play, or the other team's going to play, they can play around that, which will be heavily in their favour. But again, the initial momentum and initial confidence will be the big ones here. I don't think NIP need the confidence boost. I'm sure they're pretty comfortable with how they can do. I think God Complex are going to need it more.
Yeah, I think they're kind of more the underdogs.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them, but at the same time, they're not really underdogs. They've steamrolled blast through a lot of matches, and they proved themselves. So really, it's kind of like a championship match almost. Like NIP's holding the belt, and God Complex is challenging that. It feels like. I'm putting that in my head.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you. I think, especially for me, because I know the players of NIP slightly better, I had them... it was either them or Friday Fahrenheit winning this tournament. And I did expect God Complex to get into either the finals or the third place playoff. But I never expected them to have such a comfortable run through and get to this stage without too much difficulty. So the fact that they've exceeded expectations by a very comfortable margin, in my mind, puts them in winning position here. But I've still got my money on NIP coming through at the end here. They'll probably be slow to start. That's what I'm expecting. That's what we've kind of seen from every match of theirs, aside from against Speed Tracker, where they just went ultra aggressive at the start, and that kind of worked, but then Speed Tracker rose to the occasion. So I'm expecting them to probably play a little bit slowly, get comfortable, get ready. And then probably 2-3 matches in, we'll start to see NIP really coming through. I don't think they're going to concede to... I don't think either team will want to be on the losing side of the scoreline at any point. So I think it'll be in NIP's hands as to whether or not they decide to let that happen. Because I know if they really go full throttle at the start, they can probably keep their own and hold their own quite comfortably, and probably take a few matches off God Complex. So that's one thing that God Complex are going to have to look out for, whether or not NIP decide to start slow, or they decide to just go in full throttle and really throw them off.
Any updates on the feeds?
We're still waiting for NIP's side to be ready. We're still waiting for the feed to go live. I am getting confirmation from our referee, and the referee for the finals today, as always, he's been a big help throughout the entire tournament, not just helping manage the in-game matches, but also helping out in the background, is Natsu once again, who has the honour of getting the finals kicked off here. Again, we're just waiting for the feeds to go live from NIP, and once they have, we'll get started.
If we think it's going to be too long, we might be able to fit pre-match interview, do you think? Or do you think it's too soon?
I think it's too soon, personally. I think we're too close to it. I think if both teams were available at the end of the third place playoff to have a quick word with them, it would have been cool. But I think for now they want to just be focused, thinking about what strategies they're going to employ, what to expect from each other, and what missions, most importantly, they're going to decide to go for. And just a quick reminder for everyone here, I want to outline today's events. So we've got the finals in just a moment, as you can see, between God Complex and NIP. Once the finals have concluded and we know who is the champion of the tournament, there'll be a brief interlude where the stream will be cut for about 10 to 15 minutes while we get prepared for the final big finish celebration, which will be basically an announcement to thank everyone who's worked on this. A quick thank you to everyone who's watched, but most importantly, we have another giveaway for you. So we've got some more legendaries, some more money, and I think a couple of codes to give away today as well. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. So please, by all means, once we do go down for 10-15 minutes, please stay tuned, because it will only be 10-15 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Stay in the chat. Stay ready, and we'll be back with you as soon as possible, because we won't want to miss a step, and I hope that you, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss a step either.
Excuse me for a second.
No problem. The only reason we'll need to go offline is because some of the scenes in OBS will need to be changed, which I would rather not do on the fly, as it will look very messy. So we'll have all the scenes ready to go in 10-15 minutes. So we basically have to take the stream down for about 10-15 minutes, swap all the scenes about, get them all set up and ready to go off screen, and then we'll start the stream up again with the new layout ready to go for the last big finish celebration. And we're still waiting on NIP to get a feed up.
I am back.
Welcome back. I just got notification that the point of view from NIP was live, but on the wrong channel for 5 minutes.
Oh, on the bright side, Kempington, at least we will be more on time for what you know.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I'm expecting this match to go on for a long time, so hopefully the timings we had in mind for the big finish will still be in line with everyone being available. So
Yep.
okay, the feed from NIP has just gone live. I'm getting that set up now. Bear with me one moment, and we will pass you through to the feeds of both teams as we get ready to kick off the final match of this tournament.
Alright, reset, man. No flamethrowers now. Let's play the game.
Alright, it looks like we're almost ready to go here. So let's get both feeds up and ready to go.
Maybe you need a G Pro wireless.
Yeah, bro.
What is the G Pro wireless ultra light edition?
Just going to do a quick audio
So it's
test
the
here just to be on the
GPXX,
safe side.
That's called GPX, I think.
Should be fine. Okay. So in just a couple of moments we're going to find out which team will be the ones to do the first attack of the finals. And we'll see which team has it in them to come out on top at the end. So the point of view today for NIP is once again Scanter, and as you know the point of view for God Complex for this finals is Darlinko, or Yuriku, as his in-game name is.
Нет. Понятно, каким я запущу.
I think we're pretty much ready to get started here. I think Natsu is going to do the all-important finals coin toss.
Very nice positioning of that dump truck there.
Yeah. Strategic.
Which way do you think he'll go at the start of the match? Forward or back?
Backward.
Maybe we should have a poll on there.
Quick poll. Do you think which team is going to get griefed by the dump truck? Bit penis.
А, это. Подниму, да.
Both teams making the way to the centre of this little arena here as we wait for the all-important kickoff, as well as the final coin toss of this competition to determine who will be starting their attack first.
Что, включайте экстрим.
Включай. Самое первое включай.
Запись? Запись включать?
Иди сюда. А что еще стоит? А,
Да,
вам не
иди.
надо, вам не надо. Или... не знаю.
Кашка, уже будет готова.
Окей. Вы начали это записывать?
Вот, включил, да.
And the final coin toss has happened. It's heads. God Complex will be leading or starting this match attacking, whereas NIP will be on the defense. This is going to be interesting because we're going to have to wait.
God Complex opting for blind justice.
What a surprise. Very easy attack mission for them to get started here. Maybe to get that initial confidence, or maybe to test the waters of how they're going to fare up against NIP in the last stage, assuming they can get there. NIP have shown capabilities on defense, but we do know that their defense can be quite wavy at times, and can be the weak spot for their team. But their counter-attacks usually make up for that. It's whether or not they're going to be able to.
It's just dependent, you know. Will NIP be able to defend such an impossible objective that God Complex have to do?
Well, we're going to find out in just a moment, because here we go.
God Complex come in with a big shot on that camera there.
This is it.
Objective Bravo is taken out with fervor.
And, well, NIP not holding anything back, immediately using a DMR AV, Scanter immediately going to it, picking off Yuriku right at the start here. And Yuriku already back to the start, as NIP are opting to at least partially defend this objective by the looks of it. Looks like God Complex are going to try and take the overpass here, initially.
Are we going in, or what's going
And
on?
it does look like NIP are kind of just lingering around,
Just leave.
as one of the members of God Complex does manage to sneak in and take out that all-important camera. So here we are.
This is where the real defend mission starts now.
I got him. Skippy's on T.
Gas station, or highway above gas station.
Yuriku getting himself into quite a pickle, sandwiched between two enemies of God Complex. Finds himself deleted.
As that all-important position that Dalinko took there has solidified at least an Overwatch position here, so he can cover his teammates as they push in to do the objectives, whereas NIP are struggling to kind of form some form of defense here, knowing that they have potentially a lot of their sight angles blocked by Yuriku, but Yuriku is now opting to move off the petrol station, or at least go on top of it rather than the overpass. He could get flanked here if one of the members of NIP gets a moment to break through.
Scanter trying his best to defend here, not the best pot to defend with a DMR AV. He's getting pushed by Husinus and now followed by Yuriku.
We can cover this, yeah.
I'm not sure how Scanter can defend this with just a 45 AP.
Just don't get naded.
He's going to try
Nades
his best
inbound
to...
on Scanter. He looks like he's falling back.
Both on me, too.
You can maybe kill them big fence.
No full committal yet from God Complex. They seem very scared to get inside. He only has a 45 AP.
I'm dead from behind though.
Scanter making a valiant effort to defend. Nothing, no kills yet. Oh, Yuriku with a hit with the scout.
We're gonna push that.
Scanter is down and out, and the point will be captured.
I mean, we could have held that if I didn't.
Very tricky spot for NIP to defend with the with the weapon loadout that they have, but admittedly they were probably still a bit skeptical of pushing out at all, bearing in mind that Yuriku was overwatching that area for a long time, not allowing NIP to set up outside of that area and keeping them boxed in. Very smart by God Complex to not give NIP any options to defend the objective from a further distance away, and thus blocking out a larger area of effect. But they're not wasting any time here, as NIP were already on the defense of these two cars, of these two cameras, but God Complex are right on their heels, and they have pushed in, managed to get one of the... no, they haven't. They're very close to getting them, though, as Yuriku tries to find a way in, possibly from the flank of the west side here, as Huizness will be his support. Scanter does know that they're going to be pushing from this direction. Good communication there from NIP to call out that flank, as Yuriku is still looking for an option on the outside there, as he spots Pantsus for a moment. Scanter getting a nice pick there on Skippy. Huizness is in that same hallway to the north of Scanter,
I'm not pushing, I'm just
waiting to pounce and strike, as here comes Yuriku to help support Huizness on that hallway. I'm pretty sure Scanter did not spot that, as Imphi gets tagged a little bit there by Yuriku.
NIP putting a good defense here, though I'm sure it's going to be in vain. It might eventually pass to Graffiti, but it's all very important here. I think that NIP want to get an entire team wipe so they can take it to the next stage and get some all-important advantages in capturing the spray point. But
Once an E.
God Complex seemed to not be able to get a chance to all die at the same time.
But most importantly, NIP are holding this pretty well. They have conceded one of the points, and they only have one to go, and it is out in the open. If God Complex get a good angle on it, they can break it and thus force NIP to move to the next objective, although...
Indeed, I think they will eventually do that, but I don't think it's come to the point where they will need to take out the point yet. There's still 3 minutes left on the clock. I think what God Complex want to do is they want to kill everyone on site first at the same time, then they will take the objective. But if
Then
time
there's-
prevents them, then
Left of
yeah,
stairs.
they will take it
Right,
out,
right,
but
right.
it would not be an ideal situation.
No, as it will be an uphill struggle for the last stage. I'm pretty confident that God Complex, when push comes to shove, will get this objective. It's whether or not they're going to do it with the entirety of NIP still in the area, or whether or not they'll be able to clear them. As Yuriku starts making a very quick and aggressive push to get an angle here on the balcony and roofs near the point. Scanter is out of position here, and they haven't noticed this. Scanter's looking in the wrong direction, as Yuriku has now got the position that Scanter once was.
Okay, I'll drive around then.
Scanter might be surprised here. Looks like he will be attracting the attention of Yuriku very shortly. Yuriku coming in for the backstab.
Maybe I can get him. Oh, nice. nice.
Above me, above me.
Oh, I can't find it.
Good point, good point.
Scanter is aware of the
I'm coming,
situation.
I'm gonna drive up. I'm gonna drive up. Wait.
Skippy is to offer support to
So
Scanter.
you have to be
40
50.
from me, 40 from me maybe.
Oh.
Two there,
Looks
two there,
like
two
both teams can't really fully commit to a kill. Damage is being dealt, but
I have nades. I have nades. Fine.
looks like both teams just
there.
kind of want to play it a bit playing a bit safe here.
Well, Yuriku's now going for a big flank as Scanter is slowly starting to push back up. Yuriku's going across the street, but Scanter has spotted it, trying to get some shots on target.
Southwest
Yuriku's trying to just get the camera from there. He manages to do it. They're not opting to get them.
I can hold you.
And Yuriku manages to at least get to the last stage, but this is not great for for God Complexes. They have not got the positions here to push these. But Yuriku gets a fantastic pick on Scanter there and manages to push up.
He's on the stairs where I was before.
As Yuriku starts to make his way in, Scanter's out. Yuriku unfortunately gets picked by Pantsus, who just dives in and manages to take out that assault. It looks like God Complex might get on the scoreboard if they go for H first, but we've seen this situation before where I and H are the more important objectives here, as everyone wants to grab this north car spawner area. It's a great place to get back in, and it gives you some really good sightlines of the area. As Yuriku gets some fantastic... Scanter gets some fantastic shots on Skippy there, manages to pick him off with the conch. Not too late though, as Skippy was able to take out Infi. So it is a 2v3 scenario now if God Complex try to push in.
Just random people driving around, man.
But it doesn't look like God Complex are committing to anything just yet. They're going to wait and get all their team together before making a push here. They're not going to try and force 1v1s, I don't think. They're going to try and push this as a team, which we've seen God Complex is capable of doing. There was a good nade there onto Yuriku. I did not see the thrower, but it was one of the members of NIP. As God Complex are splitting up a little bit and trying to force awkward angles on the defenders, not giving them a chance to actually sit on a corner and hold a line of sight here. Scanter off position and out of position here as he's trying to basically solidify his defensive point as Weasness now makes a push. Yuriku's in trouble as Scanter tries to get the finish there, unable to do so even though he turned around. Yuriku now in prime position to push in, but has been damaged a lot. Pantsus does manage to get out of there safely, but Yuriku and Weasness were able to take out Scanter and Infi, and they will now start capping these points. NIP with a pretty good lead, but that can disappear quite quickly. We'll have to see what NIP can do to counter push this. Scanter in a good position to strike here, but has two members of God Complex pushing him here. He's going to be in trouble if he's not careful. And, well, Yuriku getting a fantastic kill there. Skippy managing to take out Pantsus. And here we go. This is what God Complex do. They've got the ball
What I
rolling.
was talking about earlier, it takes them a while to wake up, and just eventually they've woken up now. This is it. God Complex are now in their unstoppable form. I think NIP have their work cut out for them. They've got to fight for that car spawner.
Well, Impy's gone back to a weapon we know he's very capable with, the Oscar. He did manage to find Skippy, so at least God Complex are one defender down, but Skippy's right back in with one of the car spawners, and a very good spawn. NIP are going to have to find some way to break through here. Scanter opting to switch out from the DMR AV and going for the Scout. We're going to see some Scout v Scout duels. As Pantsus tries to run some harassment here onto Yuriku. Nade not finding purchase. Second nade does find Yuriku though, as Pantsus is unable to push this due to being tagged. Yuriku managing to hold Pantsus, but Pantsus catches him on the staircase as he tries to go for the jump shot. Scanter now supporting from across the open way, trying to find a way through. They still got a pretty commanding lead here, but God Complex are closing that lead down with their 2-to-1 capture point. And again, it's I and H which are the ones that matter the most. Scanter managing to get a pick there. Yuriku's managing to make his way in from the north and will be able to support H. But Skippy gets found by Pantsus. Pantsus manages to get the kill with support from Scanter. And here comes...
Yuriku with a perfectly timed nade and shot. Absolute clinical destruction there.
I'm gonna run towards the point here.
He's going for
I'm getting
A.
nades.
On верху был, да? Низочки?
Снизу был. У меня где-то?
And from
Чуть-чуть.
Я 85.
God Complex's side, he is getting pressure from Infi and Pantsus. Pantsus getting a fantastic frag grenade there, and then putting pressure, forcing Yuriku to either eat the nade or try to escape into a line of fire there. Scanter finally pushing from the north here, trying to get these car spawners out of the way and take a favourable position.
Scanter looking to take H, but once again, Deja Vu is inbound. Yuriku is probably going to be coming up against Scanter in the back once again on the north side.
Я за ним иду.
History is unfortunately repeating itself,
Я
but
чуть только пока.
NIP seems to be slowly but surely in the lead anyway.
Well, they have 2 points again, so they will be increasing their lead slowly but surely here. Scanter did manage to spot Yuriku before Yuriku could get the drop on him. Good nade, though, on Scanter, as Scanter's now in a bit of difficulty here, as Yuriku saturates him with nades before finishing him off as he pushes in. Yuriku in a bit of bother, but it doesn't matter, as Skippy and Huizness were able to take out the other 2 remaining members of NIP, getting a nice team wipe there, and they will now start to grab all the points, which they have done.
It's important to see that everyone in God Complex is stepping up. No one's really performing bad on their side. They're slowly taking control of the objective. No matter, it doesn't matter how long they take, they will get it in the end. And look at this now. They have a 3 domination, and NIP are on the back foot.
Well, we're seeing a coordinated strike here from NIP as they all try to push from one angle. Yuriku's trying to spot them, trying to find them. They are getting communication through. Skippy has spotted them and will probably try to flank here, but not before Scanter gets a flank on him and manages to get that all-important first pick, forcing a 3v2 onto God Complex. Fantastic shot and nade there from Scanter. Huizness returns the favour. It's now a 2-on-1 for NIP to God Complex, and it's whether or not NIP are going to be able to push through and get that final kill. Huizness is holding it down, and Yuriku's not that far away to push this. Scanter does manage to get a car spawn in from a good position here from the west. Does manage to spot one of the members of God Complex trying to flank around. Doesn't manage to get the pick, but NIP do manage to get all 3 objectives. So that lead is now going to start to increase once again. 3 minutes 30 on the clock. Not a lot of time for God Complex to work with here, but if they do manage to get the points, they will be able to close that lead down quite quickly, and it might be the critical point of this first game, as Yuriku picks up another kill there on Pantsus, manages to get one of the objectives. They now have at least 2 of the objectives, so they will be closing that lead down, and they have enough time and points to work with. So if they hold this as it is, they will win this round. So it's the balls in NIP's court to make a move here, as they start to formulate some form of strategy to push again all together. From the west side of all things, Infi getting a very good nade there on Huizness. Huizness is down. It's a 3v2 once again. Infi picking up another kill there, managing to get Skippy. Yuriku's on his own, getting rushed by Pantsus. Yuriku's in a really bad spot here. With NIP all looking in his direction. They're not doing the points though. Pantsus does finally manage to get the kill, but Yuriku was able to actually hold them off for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm very surprised he died. He looked like he was so sure to get that kill on Cozy. That would have been a clip, but fortunate for him, it was not.
Well, he did it was a very admirable effort there from Yuriku trying to hold it down. As Yuriku does get spotted on his way back in, Infi managing to get a few shots on there, but Yuriku did tag him. And there's the 2v1. Infi was 83. They have managed to at least take one of the members of NIP out, so God Complex are now in a 3v2. This is good for them. They really want this, and they'll need to make this push as they make a hard push for H. Scanter has been informed, but he is getting flanked by Skippy. Skippy does get tagged, but Skippy does manage to get the kill there. Pantsus does manage to finish off Skippy, but now it's a 1v2 for NIP. NIP have got at least 2 of the points. They're not that far away from winning this, and in this position, God Complex will have to take that 3rd point. So all
It's a
NIP...
very desperate position for God Complex indeed. They have to be
8 seconds left on the clock for God Complex to get this. They have to get that last point. If they don't, it's all over. And unfortunately, Infi was able to do just enough for NIP for them to take the first round in this finals. What a fantastic match to start off with. Both teams pulling out all the stops there, really working together as well as they could. I haven't actually seen NIP push from the same angle so aggressively and so confidently together in any of their previous matches. I really think they're 100% focused for this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Cozy. He had a very dominating play style that match, especially with him getting out of that car very early on and not willing to deal with this car gameplay of just nudging each other like bumper cars. He got straight out of his car, started cooking his nade, throwing it around at the other team, and then throwing it right at the car. He deserved to win that fight, hands down. Very athletic gameplay from him.
And I don't think God Complex are going to be too demoralized by this loss. They were very close to winning that, and if anything, NIP are going to have to be a little bit more careful and have to realize and appreciate that God Complex can win this if they slip up at all.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think God Complex were still in the process of waking up. They just haven't reached their final form yet. This is par for the course. I'm sure by the 2nd or 3rd match we'll see them at full power. This was only the 3rd match, and whatever happened in the past, we've seen time and time again that God Complex do unleash the full beast.
Use that for last or whatever.
Well, we'll have to see if they do it in time, as if NIP win this attack mission, then I think it's going to be, the hurt's going to be on God Complex to make a move. They are really going to want to win this one. They're not, I don't think they're demoralized, but they're going to want to win this defense mission to prove a point, to set the stage, and to give NIP something to think about. But there was fantastic plays there by God Complex, and they had the right ideas in mind, but I think they just couldn't formulate it and get it all together when it mattered the most. And as a result, NIP were able to hold on just enough to clinch that first victory away. It is only a defense, and they did win on defense, even though the attack for God Complex was a very easy attack for them to complete. But NIP have now got the option to choose their mission, and they have opted for one of the returning missions to the game, but we've seen multiple times in this competition. It is a very easy attack mission for NIP to complete here, but a little bit more work needs to be done in order for them to get to the last stage. But we'll have to see whether or not God Complex opt to defend this properly, or opt to just go to the last stage.
Always use protection, good advice.
And here comes round 2, NIP not wasting any time to get going here, as both teams are pretty much neck and neck as they're racing towards the first objective here. Yuriku getting flipped over there, not going to be able to support this first stage. Doesn't matter though. The team of NIP have picked up the bank truck. They will need to deliver this one, unlike Cash on the Curb, where you don't need to. So now we're going to have to wait and see what NIP decide to do here, and more importantly, what God Complex decide to do as a response. Infi using his Vegas 4x4 to push that mobile home off the highway.
Someone's been watching Robot Wars as a kid.
I'm dead. You got him though, it's fine.
Good 2-on-1 there by NIP. The Scout and Oscar combo, very effective there. Skippy out of the race there. Pantsus was taken out by Skippy just before that, and now Yuriku with his DMR AV is going to start putting some damage onto that bank truck. I think that's going to be the crucial turning point of this match, as we see
Just go for the next though.
as we see that bank truck's going to be mission critical for NIP to deliver, and if they can keep Yuriku alive to keep laying on the DMR AV shots, they may not be able to deliver the vehicle, because it isn't an instant drop, remember.
I'm just gonna go for it.
It's like Scanter's returning favor on Yuriku, and he himself is now equipping a DMR AV. He knows this is going to turn into a car battle.
Yuriku getting some all-important initial shots there on the Vegas, putting some hard damage onto it. Pantsus trying to get in and find an answer, but Yuriku managing to get away safely with support of Huizness. Pantsus does get picked off by Skippy, not before getting a good nade on Yuriku. Yuriku hurt, but no one else there to pick up the kill. as
drive around the other
Huizness
side of the highway.
and Yuriku hang close together to hold the all-important porter cabins at the top here, preventing NIP from getting in close and grabbing the item. They've still got plenty of time on their hands, so nothing to panic about just yet.
He doesn't have time to respawn it then. That's good.
Looks like Scanter's going to try and get an angle here on the members of NIP, of God Complex, managing to get 80 onto Yuriku there before having to back off slightly. Yuriku's now going to try and get an angle on Scanter to return the favour here. They are both weapons here going to be very dangerous, as Scanter does manage to find Skippy.
Climbing up, scaffolding here.
Both Yuriku and Scanter finding each other there, trying to get shots on, but Skippy still trying to make his way up and hold a very awkward angle here,
He's still in front of you, Cozy.
pushing Scanter back as Yuriku
Repairing his car.
Pushing, I'm
dangerous,
pushing, I'm pushing.
desperately tries to repair his vehicle to
Blew it up,
get
blew it
his
up,
ammo.
blew up his car.
Unable to do so.
Oh, wait, I'm getting nice. Chill.
Dude, I have 400 MS. I'm just gonna...
Yuriku kind of the last one in here to hold this down.
Name Yuriko?
I got it.
Well,
Making a last-minute dash to get the item to extend the stage there. And he seems to be experiencing some technical problems. His latency is now
Nade in for you,
going
I
through the
think.
roof
Not
at
sure.
300
Not
ms.
dead.
I'm gonna die, I think.
very peculiar. Yuriku managing to hold that incredibly well with Skippy supporting as much as he can. But NIP did manage to grab the item and at least get some more time on the clock for them to work here. And the next item is not in a bad spot at all. They might be able to just pick this up and go.
Ah, fuck. Speaking
And
of-
indeed...
It's missing everything, but I'm 100%.
Ah no, that was another item they dropped earlier off earlier on. Yuriku now trying to make his way over to defend not only the bank truck but the next item. Spots Scanter as he drives his way through to try and get onto G.
Yeah, it's good.
I do find it pretty awkward for
Jericho's up on the ramp.
NIP at the moment because they've left quite a lot of items up there. I mean, it's going to be quite tricky to get them back down from up on that highway.
I
Does
think
not bode well for NIP
push the,
if you ask me.
no, of course. I think NIP are going to have to get highway control before they do anything here. This bum rush strategy only works for a certain amount of time before God Complex adjust to that strategy and can stop them doing it.
He needs on me.
They have a lot of time anyway, so it's they can try as a three-man to push and retake those items they've left on the highway, but
Should I wait to pick up the item?
if shit doesn't change anytime soon, then I don't think they have much left.
Yuriko is east of me.
Well,
behind
it's okay.
somewhere.
They did manage to get an extra two. They did manage to grab the item, but now they've only got 5 minutes to deliver everything. So they really did need to get highway control before doing this.
85, coach, 85.
They have managed to move the bank truck at least. Yuriku managing to pick off Infi here as Yuriku starts to make his way into the area to help defend that last item that's up on the highway along with Skippy.
Using this performing in like important objective defense here, just to delay time,
I have no
destroying
car.
the
They
vehicle.
don't have an item.
Looks like Cozy has managed to grab objective E, which was on the highway.
I'm one.
Maybe quite an oversight for God Complex. They could have defended that a little
You
bit
can
better.
instantly pick me up with the
Doesn't
truck
matter,
now.
Huizness is putting a lot of damage onto the bank truck and Scantonated it as well. There's a bit of a duel going on here between the two members.
Just help Baron.
Scanter in trouble here, wants to get this bank truck out as soon as he can, but that bank truck's not in good shape.
Wait, I
Skippy
have
is there to get some damage
Whatever,
off
just go,
if he
just go,
chooses.
I'll
But Yuriku is down as well, so if they do manage to get past Yuriku's spawn, he might be able to get the bank truck safely to the drop-off in time. But it doesn't
Houston
look
is
like
fighting
it.
valiantly, doing so much damage to the car, but it's unfortunate that his death was in vain. The car is still
You good?
able to drive off, and it looks like they will get the drop.
Yuriko's in front of me, he is-
Yuriku has managed to find the bank truck. Is he going to get enough damage onto it before the bank truck gets out of his line of sight? He's not going to be able to, but he's going to have a more direct line to the drop as both team members of God Complex try to push the bank truck off its line.
Houston is trying his best to T-bone the bank truck, and he really wants to fight this thing. He very disappointed in that he wasn't able to succeed the last time, but now the car will go down.
Yuriku managing to get onto the highway before the bank truck could get past and able to drop it off. And I think this is where God Complex are going to succeed. They're going to defend this bank truck with everything and stop NIP from getting this delivered, which I think is where God Complex are going to take this match. Infi managing to get Skippy,
He did it himself.
Nice.
He's mad.
Potsu managing to get rid of Yuriku, but they need to get the van and go now. They've got an opportunity before Yuriku respawns.
We need to get these items now.
But Yuriku has got a pretty decent spawn looking at the drop-off from the other side. They're going to have
He's
to...
on the opposite side though. I don't know if he'll make it back in time.
It's whether or not he'll be able to get the damage onto the vehicle before it drops off, because it isn't an instant drop.
Get in!
Bit of miscommunication there from...
I'm getting you.
from
He was trying to defend the item, but he ended up blocking the car.
It's a desperate push here from NIP, and they don't manage to get it in. Yuriku managed to get back in time to drop the vehicle before they could get there. They've got 2 minutes on the clock now. The small items are on the drop, but the bank truck again is in a bad spot, and NIP have got all the work again to take out Yuriku, prevent him from getting close to the drop-off, and get the vehicle dropped off in time.
I'm getting A.
Yuriku now driving as quickly as he can to go defend the bank truck on the highway. Pantsus is already there as well, managing to get the item, but Yuriku is pre-damaging the vehicle before NIP can get into it.
I'm dead. They're all on me. Dead.
Skippy managing to take out Pantsus.
Because I died, bro.
NIP are now facing the pressure of having to retake the highway and get a very lumbering vehicle out of there.
Never mind.
It's not the most nippy thing to get out.
No, and only 1 minute on the clock. This is where I think God Complex will take it if they can keep the defences up. Pantsus not in position to strike here. Infi is, and here comes Scanter in a van. They really have to get rid of this God Complex defence quickly if they want to get through here, but all God Complex need to do is stall. That's all they need to do. They don't even need to
And
get
that's
kills.
what they're really good at. I mean, we've seen who's in this. They have this in the bag. I think it's important for NIP not to get too flustered here and just prepare for the next match.
He's at the...
Yuriku once again pre-damaging the vehicle.
It's an unfortunate thing that can be done for the
We just
defenders.
have to go
Stay in the car.
now.
It's already hard enough as it is to get such a big, bulky
Yuku's
vehicle
85,
out.
85.
Now they have to repair it too and drive away.
Infi managing to get Yuriku, but I don't know if they're going to get the vehicle in time, as it was pre-damaged.
If you have blowtorch?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, blowtorch, you have to go. You have to go.
He's blowing it up. He's blowing it up. Yeah.
Prisoners blowing up the vehicle there. And again, it's in a bad spot. NIP are going to have to take this loss. But yeah, God Complex win this by managing to defend the vehicle.
I think it's in those situations, blow torches are very important. At that point, I think all members should have had one equipped. It's just, what can you do against 2 grenades just being thrown at the vehicle?
Yeah.
You're gonna need a blowtorch in a situation like that. It's just an unfortunate gameplay mechanic or meta, but it is what it is.
That mission should have been free for us. I don't know.
Yeah, we
Whatever.
didn't go for the point. We didn't go for Yubiku enough, and we didn't go for the point enough.
That is...
That's
Like, I don't think you guys should have been. You shouldn't have fought them at all. There, you should just full LW to the car after Yuku died. It was no reason to fight Skippy on the roof. Just jump down and blow towards
Well,
the point.
NIP are going to use this time to think about what they did wrong in that last match and hopefully improve the strategy,
Yeah, but
We're gonna
leading into the second attack for God Complex here.
Most of the discussion seems to be on, like, you know, play for the objective. No, don't play for the kills, which is very important things to say. Don't get distracted.
Absolutely.
Just think about the mission. Think about how much time's left. Weigh the you know, will this guy be able to deal damage to you? He only has a 45 and he's 70 meters away. What's that going to do to you? You don't need to kill him, I think. Sometimes it's better just to leave him there, useless. You just got to think about these things, and you have to be a little bit more cerebral. You can't just kill. Sometimes you got to, you know, repair the car and just go.
С точками она. С точками Дарлен.
Looks like God Complex are going for yet another very easy attack mission here. ROAR, which all they need to do is 2 stages of shooting shop fronts.
Или он копирует просто.
And that'll be it. Then it'll be the last stage. Very, very, very easy attack mission. And if they're smart and they don't want to play a repeat mission, they can then choose no unaccompanied G-Kings, which is exactly the same thing, just with a different name. That being said though, ROAR is technically a 2v2 mission, and not a 3v3 mission. It's not meant to be spun up as a 2v2.
Да, нахуй. Трехэтапка развития. Вот она, блядь. Уничтожи 2 раза.
And here we go. ROAR. A very easy mission, attack mission for God Complex to take here. If NIP want to defend this, they can, but very, very long time to defend, something very easy to destroy. So I think NIP are going to opt to just go straight to the last stage here and win this 3rd round on the last stage once again.
See who, do these objectives usually spawn close to each other?
Typically, yes. Looks like Scanter's going to switch out from his tried and tested DMR AV, as it's not necessary here, as Ariku starts to get some damage onto Pantsus, managing to take out Pantsus before he can drive away. Scanter in trouble here, as Huizness manages to push in and take one of the objectives. The one inside, actually. And now we're on to stage 2 already. Yuriku already on his way in to go take these. Unfortunately gets caught by a vehicle, trying to ram Infi there, and missing. Infi will get there first, barely, but he won't have enough time to set up here, and all Yuriku needs to do is find a comfortable angle and shoot from a distance.
Almost taken out Infi there, blowing him up, but manages to get out of the situation. It's a reset point for Yuriku. No, it looks like he won't make it out of the area at all.
No, it's a very smart nade there by Infi, nading behind. They do manage to enclose him down and finish him off, and they're not opting to take out the objectives just yet. They want to get rid of the rest of NIP before they move on to the last stage, knowing that the last stage will spawn nearby, as Scanter lingers around on the other side, waiting to strike, opting not to push in here, as it may not be necessary. Infi managing...
Deciding to prowl in his coin wolf of all things.
Infi using the car spawner there to get back into the fight quickly and in position ready. Huizness in trouble here as he gets caught out by Infi. Doesn't die, but he is in trouble here as both Scanter and Infi are waiting to strike. And that's it. They take the final stage, and here we go. One graffiti hold as Infi and Scanter will now try and make a quick rush over there to get set up and get the point first. But they're taking a lot of damage from 2 sources here. I don't know if that Koi Wolf is going to survive for much longer if they keep taking punishment like that. Meanwhile,
looks like they will prevail in the end, and looks like NIP will get the first few points onto the objective.
As Yuriku now starts to make his way in a civilian Kurai. He's a bit out of the way here. Huizness is already there on the point, but here comes Scanter and Infi, ready to push this quickly and get Huizness off the point, and there we go. Advantage NIP as they take the objective early. Yuriku's here now, pushing in, getting some nades ready to go. Getting spotted by Infi there. Scanter does manage to get out of harm's way there in time, just as he takes the point. As Pantsus tries to push from back behind here. Yuriku spaghettiing his shots here. Pantsus taking on a 2v1 with confidence and succeeding. Scanter now resupplying and switching to a scout, opting to try and utilise the range options and line of sights here as much as he can. Pantsus remaining calm and collected throughout the entirety of that engagement, showing his resolve. As here comes Yuriku once again from the northeast side, but pushing from on his own here, as he waits for Huizness and Skippy to take positions here, probably looking to get picks early before they push into the area. But here comes Huizness and Yuriku now, pushing up the stairs and the adjacent stairs behind. Skippy in a favourable position to defend this, but NIP have got other ideas. They're holding inside, waiting for God Complex to actually push on to the point here, and playing incredibly reserved and holding short inside. Skippy does manage to find Infi though, as Infi takes the bait there. But Scanter is not so easy to fool, as he holds a very awkward angle for God Complex here, as he tries to get a few hot shots onto Huizness. He does manage to push Huizness off the point here, as Yuriku will now try to take the point. Scanter still missing some valuable shots here, but it's enough for God Complex to not take the point. And in this current situation, Skippy's not going to be able to do too much. Yuriku does manage to catch Infi. Pantsus rushes up and takes out Huizness, so it's a 2v2 scenario, as Yuriku still tries to get some grenades in there to try and push the NIP defense off their positions, but they just can't get the angle.
Looks like Yuriku will get the Espacio to block the point. Very cerebral play coming up. Skippy now in a very powerful spot to stop any sort of retake from
Absolutely.
NIP. It was definitely felt more useless at the start, but now with hindsight, Skippy's in a very good position to.
Well, if God Complex were going to be able to take the point like they have, Skippy's going to be in a great spot to defend this. He does get tagged by Scanter, but Scanter's now in a really bad position here to push this, and won't be able to with that husk of a vehicle in the way. Yuriku trying to find Infi. Pantsus not able to. Does manage to get a tag. Skippy finishes him off. Scanter is now having a bit of a duel with Yuriku. Yuriku manages to get out safely. That all-important lead NIP had at the start is now slowly starting to crumble. They're going to have to come up with something here to try and make this work, as the whole team of God Complex gets set up and ready to defend this with everything they've got. Skippy's still holding a very valuable spot on the scaffolding in Beacon across the street here, preventing any pushes coming in from southwest.
Indeed, I'm thinking NIP either need to get some assassination squad out on Skippy or get a big vehicle of themselves to block the objective. It's really either or at this point. They can't.
Oh, sorry. Very great. Good nade there by Scanter. Not enough to do anything, but enough to panic Yuriku just for a second so he doesn't push in. Scanter trying to find Yuriku with nades there, but no luck, as Yuriku now starts to make a push in. Scanter holding this close area, trying to start making some sort of a push here, but unable to do so as God Complex maneuver around his nades very carefully and comfortably. Infi has managed to take out Skippy, so there is no more support from across, meaning Scanter can now push quite comfortably. Will start to try and take the point, but here comes Yuriku and Huizness trying to get angles on. Scanter's got to be careful. If Yuriku gets an angle here, he could take out Scanter quite quickly. Infi is providing a lot of support from across the way, which is helping him go through. Pantsus does manage to get Yuriku. Scanter's now got free roam of it. Pantsus just runs up behind them and takes them both out, but Skippy's now in a good spot from the bridge across the street, able to at least prevent Scanter from taking the point. Infi's going to have to reposition.
Who is Skippy exactly? Is he like does he moonlight as a US Army sharpshooter? Like, why is he always in these odd spots? Like, he's playing very well these days. They may not have won the point, but he is definitely putting up some long-range pressure on the NIP there, and they're keeping them thinking, keeping them on their feet. If God Complex can keep that up and protect Skippy while he gets in position, I think they will have the last laugh on this mission.
Well, what I'm seeing here, at least in this mission, is strategy. God Complex are coming up with every kind of strategy they can think of to take this point in different ways and keep NIP on their toes on how they defend. NIP are rising to the challenge, but they can't keep relying on their individual ability and just natural ability at this game to keep them through here. Because if God Complex find the right strategy, they're going to be in trouble. Pantsus does manage to trade with Yuriku. Yuriku gets the kill, but Pantsus manages to land the all-important nade to blow up the vehicle. Infi does manage to pick up Skippy as well with a nade, so NIP are still in a prime position here. 40 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be one last mad dash by God Complex, as Huizness is in the area, manages to nade Scanter, push him off the point. None of the other members of NIP are nearby to take this, and Huizness will start taking this point. Scanter's going to have to try and get up there and stop him, because here comes the other members from God Complex coming up behind Scanter. They will have informed him of where he is. Scanter's been tagged. Scanter's no longer able to defend her as Yuriku pushes in aggressively to try and take this point at the last second.
This is it, 10 seconds to go. Will they make a push?
They're trying to, but Scanter's holding on. Infi does manage to get Huizness as Scanter and Yuriku have a little bit of a fight here. It's enough of a distraction for NIP to just scrape through and take the third round here. Both teams winning on defense here so far, but my god, are these last stages close.
And NIP played that perfectly. They knew exactly what to counter. They knew what the problem was, and they executed that. They identified Skippy and took him out, and used his own spot against them. Very well played.
God Complex are throwing the gauntlet down, saying this is what we can do. What are you going to do about it? And unfortunately for them, NIP are going, yeah, okay, cool, we'll deal with that. Now then, what are you going to do? So every time God Complex calls to raise the stakes, NIP are answering quite comfortably. They're going to have to come up with something.
Like, what was God Complex practicing on before they played this game? It looked like Skippy was maybe practicing on Armor 3.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that game's maybe a little bit too slow. Could not catch Infi coming up behind him. Did not have the reaction time to kill him, I guess. But yeah, I think they just need to speed it up a little bit. God Complex have their work cut out for them, but I think they will prevail in the end. They just need to, be more assertive.
I think they need to play a little bit more aggressively here. They hold down the angles and the sight lines quite comfortably and prevent NIP from doing anything, and they're waiting on NIP to outposition, to maneuver and make the change. Whereas God Complex will just control the area even if they haven't got the point, because they will wait for NIP to make the mistake, because they know NIP will get bored. And that boredom is, I think, what they might be relying on here. For NIP just to get a little bit impatient and try to push the point and hopefully fall into the hands of God Complex. Again, two very different strategies here from the teams. NIP happy to run around and go with the flow, play as aggressively as they like, and God Complex utilising more strategy, better positioning and team placement as much as they can to gain the upper hand wherever possible. But NIP are showing that their momentum and speed at repositioning and flexibility to whatever kind of strategy is employed against them is starting to give God Complex something to think about, and definitely something they'll need to adjust if they want to come out on top.
NIP are opting for a more dramatic mission, very dramatic name, Avenge the Fallen. Do you have any intel on said mission?
I can't remember the mission names off the top of my head anymore.
What happened to your Wasp handbook?
I put it in the bin after I got kicked out.
Oh, yes. Damn.
Because the strategy, all I saw for like 100 pages was go to Joshy's castle and sit up there with an HVR.
Oh, Avenge the Fallen. Oh, pick up.
Pick up, graffiti, drop off, point hold.
That's an average looking mission. Not as light as I thought it would be, but let's see how this plays out.
Let's see what NIP decide to do differently here. We saw them get stuck trying to move a car objective to the drop-off. They don't have to worry about that this time, so we'll see if that makes any sort of impact to to God Complex's approach on defending this. God Complex willing to defend items even after they've picked up, as long as they can get them dropped off near the same area. And if they found that NIP struggled to take that position, they'll hold that because they know they can stall. But here we go, Yuriku's in a good position to defend this item, even though it is a pickup. Scanter and Infi now looking to try and take out Huisness' mobile home, as the mobile home finds respite in the small alleyway there, as Yuriku's there to defend with grenades. Scanter now, along with Infi, looking to try and make a push in, not opting to push in the way that the two members of God Complex are holding, but they do manage to take out the mobile home. One of the car spawners down. They do have another. Scanter now trying to find a way around. Trying to get to the balcony and get a favourable position here over God Complex's entrenchment.
He's hiding on the left door.
It's like Scanter will find Yuriku.
Oh, all the way. See, Yuriku's on the stairs in front of you.
And Infi. Looks like he got himself quite into a pickle and is now taken out.
Peeked me in the fucking...
Yuriku getting a nice little jump shot there on Infi. Gonna hold him back here, as Infi has to respect that scout. Oh no, sorry, Pantsus. And that's a good team wipe by God Complex, holding this small item down. 3 minutes 20 on the clock. Plenty of time for NIP to work with here, but God Complex's defense, once again, proving to be quite the insurmountable obstacle for NIP here. So they're going to have to change how they approach this, I think.
All three. You just get the item. Just run in and get the item, man.
Again, NIP still going for this kind of desperation strategy here. Rather than clearing it carefully, they just want to rush and get the point and go. A very different strategy from what we've seen God Complex do, who instead opt to control the point and control the area first before taking it.
Why are you doing this? There's a guy just bullet charging.
Yuriku holding an angle with Skippy in support on the balcony behind him, as Scanter and Pantsus start to try and make a move in from a different angle here.
You guys didn't talk.
I don't know. Inside. Sometimes.
No intel from NIP on where the members of God Complex are, but they do manage to spot Yuriku. He's kind of out in the open court. Good shot there by Scanter, catching him at the last second, and here comes Infi, Pantsus and Scanter, all pushing from the same direction here to force them off this. Huizenus getting a good pick there on Scanter. Huizenus now going to try and flank the attacking position of NIP to try and push them off. Pantsus does manage to get Skippy. They do manage to get the item, so more time on the clock for them to work with. 5 minutes on the clock. Yuriku does manage to jump back in, get a good nade on both Infi and Pantsus. Doesn't follow it up though.
I'm resuppplying. I think he's just going to the objective actually. He's just going.
As
He's probably still here, bro.
as Yuriku opts to just get out of there and reposition, start making his way to the next point.
He's inside east, like next building over. In one gas station.
Right, this is a critical point now for NIP. They can't just press F on the objective and it will be instantly taken. They have to actually clear the area now.
He's in the door, like
Now,
where my car's facing.
This is the admittedly easier stage for now for God Complex. So NIP have the work cut out for them.
It depends whether or not if NIP are going to try and employ a similar strategy that God Complex did in the same area and try to push them into that small little area where the objective is and just keep them locked down there. We've seen God Complex able to control areas a lot better than NIP, as NIP don't really hold points as well. But, well,
Just drive in. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Okay, nice.
manages to get Yuriku at least.
Just sit here, bro. Just sit here.
Alright, if you
Don't
want
drive
to.
in. Just sit here. Yeah. I mean, you can take your car and car can play up to the big fence, but you don't need to push in.
He ran out all the way.
Come big fence here. Here.
Seems like the first real push from NIP. Cozy and Scanter backing each other up onto
Is he left
Objective
or
E.
Go straight. Maybe we.
Infi looking to close up on the other side. Yuriku might be coming up on the flank against
Yeah, I can
Cozy
yeah,
and Scanter.
I can help you. Kill him.
Very distracting.
Oh, we can't. Fuck.
It's like Yuriku has provided enough distraction for.
I don't have nades. I'm tagged now.
I don't think anyone from God Complex is going to take advantage of that distraction.
Well, they don't need to push in, they just need to hold the hallway and prevent them from getting close. Scanter does manage to get Yuriku though, so that flank has gone, but Skippy and Huizenus are holding outside to the west. So
All cards are stacked in their favor. They're trapped on one side of the fence, really.
Yuriku's now going to come and support if NIP can't make a push here quick enough. Yuriku's going to be able to get back and support this, and in fact he is. Here he comes. He's behind the petrol
Indeed.
station.
I can wait for him, maybe.
Yeah, he's on
He's
the gas
driving
station.
in.
Gas station,
Driving in.
gas station.
You're gonna nade me.
It's important for NIP to not let themselves get pushed by the defenders. Cozy coming in,
I'm 85.
but
yes,
it
I'm
looks like
nading
Cozy and Scanter are in a bit of an awkward position.
He's 85. Got him.
Pantsus managing to get Skippy, the initial pick. Infi managing to get Huizenus. Yuriku is not in a position to push this, but he's going to try possibly... No, he opts not to, as NIP do finally manage to break the defense of God Complex by slowly but surely encircling and closing them down, taking a page out of God Complex's book there.
I'm going.
As,
Making sure to not let it get to a snowball situation here. Very epic jump shot from Yuriku. He's been
Fantastic.
consistently doing that all game today.
What a fantastic jump shot there. Not changing targets, sticking to his guns, managing to take out Scanter as Skippy supports and takes out Infi, unable to capitalise on the initial shot Scanter put onto Yuriku there. Great play there by God Complex. They're going to be happy with that one. They are on to the next stage though. The items are on the floor. So NIP are going to have to push this quickly and get the items out carefully.
I don't know if I blew up his car.
No, you didn't.
But here comes Scanter,
He's both
trying to find a way to get the items quickly here and get them in and out. But I don't think God Complex are going to fall for any of the distraction tactics here. If they want to get these items, they're going to have to work for them.
I'm naded.
Yeah, NIP trying to just sneak the items out, but with how entrenched God Complex are at the moment and holding valuable angles here, they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to come up with something else.
I know we should have
Skippy's on the high right now.
Yuriko spotting Pantsus there as Pantsus tries to make a run for Huisness to at least take out one of the members of God Complex.
No doubt about it. I think NIP really do need to focus their attack this time. They need to work together as a unit, maybe brute force their way in. They can't.
Big fence still.
I don't think they can rely on distractions from teammates to just ninja the
Well,
items out of there.
As we say that,
I'll rush him.
Infi and Pantsus both managed to take out their respective members as Scanter makes a mad dash for the items, managing to bait the nade of Yuriko out.
Valiant effort
as-
from Yuriko. Managed to get the direct hit onto Scanter there, but team fell at the wrong time, unfortunately.
NIP still trying their hardest to push their aggression as much as possible and be as quick as possible to not let God Complex set up at all. But I think they might get away with this. No. Well, Scanter Scanter unfortunately blocked the drop-off with his vehicle there, not able to drop off the item. Good nade there by Infi. He's got a clear shot, but Yuriko's now in position to defend this from an awkward angle. They're going to have to work to get rid of Yuriko first.
I'm dropping.
Scanter going for the
Another
drop.
David
Can
and
Yuriko
Goliath.
answer? No, he can't. We're on to the last stage, a 3-point hold.
You have to leave.
It's unfortunate I keep seeing Yuriko come down to these 1v3 situations. He seems to be caught on the back foot and always just not really in the best of positions to do anything.
Там ближняя точка, да?
It's always at the objective at the last minute, I think. And my Siri decides to go and speak for herself.
Well,
I have really got to disable Hey Siri.
Не шуткам, брат.
well, Scanter and co already in, opting to switch weapons for this area, but God Complex are on the scoreboard first, managing to take objective G. Outside of the car park, I think H and I are going to be the more important objectives here to hold. Infi managing to get the pick on Skippy, who was able to take the point. Skippy, Infi now taking that important point G, which may be the foothold that God Complex opt for before pushing into the car park, or they may
It
opt
looks
to
like
try and-
Yuriko's getting ready now. He's switching to a Whisper. Oh no, is that the Aces? What did he just equip there?
I think he just equipped the Aces rifle.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting ready for some CQC action. Definitely not happy with his performance the first few rounds. Aces v OCA.
Huisness managing to take out Scanter there, as Yuriko supported.
Scanter got pushed back a little bit back from Yuriko there. I mean, any other player, and I think that he would have just engaged in the fight, which just goes to show how much respect he gives to Yuriko. He did not want to engage him in a 1v1 for what he thought was an OCA, I think.
And that was an incredible team play there by God Complex, managing to brute force NIP out of the car park completely by just working together, pushing from awkward angles and not giving NIP any room to work with. And just like that, all 3 points are in favour of God Complex here, and that lead is about to disappear for NIP. Unless
A very
they can...
strange loadout coming out from God Complex. An Aces rifle and a CSG.
Well,
Very unorthodox.
CSG is still a very powerful weapon. People have underestimated it. Compared with
Oh
the JG,
yeah, but
though,
there's always better choices. JG, I think, is the better one to go for, but that's banned. So there you go.
that's banned because the JG practically beats everything in close quarters at this point, and in the right hands will beat anything in close quarters. But that being said, here comes the big push from NIP, trying to replicate God Complex's success in the car park, as both Pantsus and Scanter try to push. Unfortunately, immediately shot down by Huisnes and Yuriko.
Immediately stonewalled by the brick shit house of Huisnes.
Yuriko trying to get an angle on Infi as Infi flanks. That's a great nade by Infi, managing to hit both members of God Complex. Yuriko now on the back foot. If Infi manages to catch him before he recovers, Infi might be able to get this. But he doesn't opt to push. Infi now trying to get another flank on Yuriko, but Yuriko's caught up to him on what Infi plays like and was able to read him perfectly. And now God Complex are in the lead as they have the point lead as well as the objectives. All 3 of them to be precise, so well, NIP have got all the work cut out for them here. As both Pantsus and Scanter try to push Yuriko off the point here. They do manage to get objective I, so they've got a foothold in the car park. Scanter backing off, trying to get a flank here as Pantsus holds down the staircase. As God Complex just retake this without too much opposition. Infi, Scanter managing to get a flank here. managing to push Huizness, doesn't manage to get the kill, will try to... No, he doesn't opt to try and finish them off. Opts for
We're
safety.
seeing a lot of guerrilla warfare going in, just going in, dealing 200-300 damage, backing out, getting teammates to go. There's no full committals of any fights going on right now. They seem to be just dealing damage, running away.
What I want to know is where's Infi in all of this?
Infi's
Yuriku-
dead, just
well-
been taken out by Yuriku, just like that.
Не rush, не rush.
Я не раш, я жду за углом.
Грай.
Yuriku getting badly naded there as Huizness managed to take out Pantsus. Scanter does manage to respond and take out Huizness, but he doesn't manage to take out Yuriku. And God Complex are running away with this one. They've got the point lead. NIP are going to have to hold all 3 points and then some if they want to take this back, and they haven't got a lot of time left to do it with either.
Oh, the tables have turned.
Отойди, на время играем.
У меня.
Уйти почти.
Scanter is looking to try and get a push here, but they're really running out of time as Skippy comes back to try and manages to push off... Manages to push Infi off the push here. Scanter does manage to get taken out by Skippy there. Potsu is still alive. Potsu's in a 2v1 scenario here as he manages
Absolute chaos in there.
as Potsu...
What is this? Are we in asylum today?
As Potsu and Huizness are the last members left of their respective teams. But Potsu manages to come out on top and take the 2 points for NIP. God Complex on the cusp of winning this. Potsu managing to get the third man kill there on Huizness, getting the team wipe. As God Complex have gone for the last point G. NIP have to grab that point now. But I have a feeling that God Complex are going to just put all their eggs into one basket and defend this as relentlessly as they possibly can. Holding Scanter off just enough here. They're going to be able to get away with it if NIP can't get onto the point here. Infi desperately trying to push in. Yuriku holding it well. Potsu getting a kill on Skippy, but it's not enough as God Complex managed to seal the deal there and make it 2-all.
Yuriku absolutely putting on a masterclass on how to use an Ace's rifle, and I don't think NIP know how to play against that. It's like an OCA, but with a ton more bullets, a little bit less damage, but the fire rate more than makes up for it. I think Yuriku just showed everyone how it's done.
We're seeing the difference in team compositions here a lot as these matches go on. God Complex have a much better strategy in mind, have got tactics in mind, know how to play against the aggressiveness of NIP, as they'll feign aggressive. Well, God Complex will feign some aggressiveness and push, do a decent amount of damage, and then deliberately relinquish the position that they're in, waiting for the counter push from NIP, knowing that NIP want to do that and play right into their hands.
It's crazy how well they play. Like I talked about earlier, like Huizness, like him moonlighting as a U.S. Army sharpshooter. But at the moment, I kind of thinking that maybe as a team they're descended from Vietnam War veterans. You know, not from the American side, but more of the Vietnam side. Like, there's amazing guerrilla tactics I saw, just going in, dealing damage, and running out, and then NIP are just, what the fuck just happened? He's in and out like the Flash, and eventually that's how they won. They just took too much damage from too many angles, and they couldn't even get a kill. It's God Complex definitely put a masterclass and great showing there.
Well, it's just pepper them and run away. If they can't get the kill quick enough, the damage is enough. And I think that's the most important thing. NIP are reacting to the spots that they see and flanking accordingly. And God Complex have completely changed strategy here, not to just pick fights, but not finish them. And
I think at the end of this, NIP would be probably going for some epic flashbacks. I mean, it was absolute massacre inside that parking lot. I have to wonder what's going through Scanter's mind. He looks awfully jittery.
They're definitely struggling to react to everything God Complex is putting on for them, and it is working in God Complex's playbook here. They're just able to... Again, they've changed strategy again to meet this team. We've seen this happen multiple times where they change strategy based on the team they're up against, and it is working very well. And NIP are going to have to do something about this now. It's now NIP on the back foot. While the scoreline is equal, that's not going to matter too much here, because all it will take is for God Complex to repeat their strategy from before, even if it gets to last stage, and NIP will be on the back foot going into a 3-2 scenario with match point to God Complex.
Well, since that was such an intensive fight, I will have to excuse myself for a couple of minutes while I freshen up. Oh my goodness.
There's a 5-minute break on the clock there, as Yuriku has asked for it. So we've got 5 minutes here for both teams to relax and reflect and think up what they're going to try differently or possibly repeat, but with better success as we lead on to round 5.
Алло, Флога, там миски надо на...
Флогит, нам нужна миссия, блядь, Флогит.
А то он сейчас, блядь, специально, блин, фрей скажет.
Да не-не-не.
Алло, алло, нам нужна миссия имбовая, пацаны.
На Крым скажи.
Нет, могли бы и то же самое планировать. Нам нужна миссия, пацаны, давайте, какая?
Спроси, что за миссия, как спроси их. Вторая,
Как,
которая.
ну, имбовая нам нужна. Не знаю. Мы играли эту миссию уже. Играли. Да, мы играли витрин развития вот это. Чё ради помехи, что там? Не, тачки нельзя, не будут грифить. Почему? Блядь, ждем флоги-то, перерыв, ждем флоги-то, блядь. Дарен, напиши, что там технические проблемы у меня, Дарен.
All right. Both teams, I think, are still in pretty high spirits, regardless of what happened there. A lot less chatter from NIP's side by the looks of it. I think they're just waiting to get going. Looks like Eureka has asked for an additional 5 minutes for this break, as Skippy is having a couple of technical problems.
He's awesome.
Hopefully this will give NIP the time to think about how they're going to approach this differently and tackle the equation that is God Complex's playbook. But if God Complex have any more tricks left up their sleeve to approach the different strategies that NIP can provide, then I think God Complex may start taking the lead here. It'll be all down to this next match. Because if God Complex wins this defense, if God Complex manages to win this defense and then win their next attack, this could be all over for NIP. But this next match is going to be the critical one, as whoever's in the lead after this, a lot of pressure is going to be on the other team to win the next match. So while no one's on match point just yet, this next one, if they don't know it, is probably going to be the most important of the entire tournament. But so far, it's what we've come to expect from both teams. Showing ability, capability, individual prowess, and the ability to adjust and change strategy on the fly as needed. With NIP struggling on the defense again, as we expected, as their defense is a little wavy. Maybe we're going to see some change-ups to how they approach situations here, as NIP had to take a very hard lesson, knowing that God Complex really do have a defensive wall that is difficult to overcome. And as we saw in that previous mission, they had to rethink how they approached this, and instead of just trying to rush the item and be quick and aggressive, they had to take it calmly and carefully and slowly close down the angles of opportunity that God Complex had, and slowly encircled them and finished them off. think we're almost ready to get started here again.
Oh,
I'm just going to confirm from God Complex's side.
silence.
Come on, Spiffy. Yeah, 2 in a row now, we're done. We just did this for the viewers. Camp contract, you know, NDA.
Yeah, go see it then.
No!
Just do it.
You play Jose, you're the baboon, I'm not a baboon.
А что там за миссия? Что, типа, бомба? Это машина? Ну это нет, машина не противник, нет твари поиграть.
Ну, в принципе, можно попробовать, я не знаю.
Да не надо, не надо, не надо.
Может, я прям лифт, прям кататься?
Да.
Конечно, 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 100%.
А! Ну серьезно, есть какая-нибудь миссия?
Блин, чуть быстро, блин. Давайте. Так много времени тоже нет.
Это,
Они ждут, алло.
бомбу... Да, бомбу...
Давай я скажу эту миссию просто, давай.
Hey, I'm back.
Нет. Доставка миссия.
Welcome back. We're still waiting for Skippy to fix some of his technical difficulties. I think he's having a problem with recording at the moment and has gone AFK.
Блин.
Секунду, Рен, жди. Ну... Я понял. Сейчас, сек. Брен, давай на туре бомбу сыграем. Мы ДМРки возьмем, мы же тренировали. Просто ДМРки займем свою позицию. и
Мы
всё.
ни один раз, по-моему, не выиграли, если что.
Там,
Ну
блядь,
давай попробуем,
сразу
давай попробуем,
попробуем.
давай
Попробуем, нахуй.
давай,
Бля, и мы
давай.
тренировали, нахуй, сейчас разъебем, нахуй, погнали, блядь, кому уши. Погнали.
Отправь мне имя быстро. Ну это, блин, у меня тоже было.
Ну, давай ее, нахуй. её.
Looks like we're ready to go. God Complex have picked the next attack mission. It'll be Spray Me Up Buttercup. Looks like they're ready to go. NIP are ready to go. And here we go. In just a few moments, we'll have round 5 for you.
Попробуй сразу. Попробуй как-нибудь закончить.
Езди так же, как они, блядь, ездят, нахуй.
Probably the most important round of this entire finals, as this will determine who is most likely going to win this. If God Complex manage to win this attack stage, putting them on match point, NIP are going to have to pull a miracle out of the bag. We've seen it happen before, but will they be able to do it against this particular team? Time will only tell, as here we go. Spray Me Up Buttercup has begun. Both teams making slightly different routes to the objective here. I think NIP are going to try and get there as soon as possible. They're having a bit of difficulty getting the cars over there quickly, as it looks like Huizness is going to make it there first, with Pantsus leading against Yuriku towards the objectives. Imphi has managed to make it in, Pantsus in, but so's Huizness. Yuriku's there, as we have a streamer versus streamer moment, as both Yuriku and Scanter exchange phone numbers there.
Нормально так.
You're managing to get objective B. And just one objective to play for now.
Pantsus managing to get a pick there on Yuriku, as Pantsus finishes off his vehicle. Pantsus does manage to get Skippy, and Imphi manages to get Huizness. A good team wipe there initially for NIP, as they manage to now start to get a foothold in this area and hopefully lock it down. We'll have to see what God Complex do to approach this situation.
Еще подъезжаю прям ближняк.
Стойте, у Поцуса что Кевлар, у Поцу... О, и у Инфи...
Looks like they're going to try another wide 3-point attack here, with all members of God Complex pushing from different angles, as Yuriku opts to go for the DMR AV. Again, a very powerful weapon beyond 88 meters, can two-shot. Looks like Scanter's done the same thing and will spot Yuriku as Yuriku just waits in his car. I don't think he realizes. I think, well, he does now as Pantsus gets hit. Skanta gets hit, sorry. As Yuriku manages to get some more shots onto Skanta, but now Yuriku's in trouble as he tries to get into his car, and the entirety of God Complex jump on that opportunity as Huizenus does manage to take out Infi. Skanta manages to get a pick on Huizenus, so it's a 2v2 scenario now. As Yuriku's still trying to find Skanta. Skanta manages to not get away in time. Yuriku does manage to pick him off. And I'm not sure if Infi managed to make his way back in, but Skippy and Yuriku are on the overpass, ready to control the area and not allow NIP back in here. Skanta respawns not in the greatest position here to defend this. With Pantsus, the last person actually in the area to defend, Skanta will now start getting angles. They do manage to nade Pantsus out and jump on the point immediately. Yuriku finds Skanta as both players take shots at each other. It's a good enough distraction for God Complex to actually get the kill there, and Yuriku manages to pick off Skanta. And another team wipe by God Complex as they are pushing their way through here quickly. NIP really on the back foot now.
Nice, where is it? God Complex keeping up the momentum is what I've just been saying this entire time. Like, waited for them to wake up for the mission, and now they are woken up, and I don't think they can be stopped. NIP have got to find their kryptonite for God Complex, and I'm not sure if they will.
Well, Yuriku's managing to cover the spawns of the NIP players trying to make their way back in. Pantsus and Infi stuck in a really awkward position here, not really able to defend the point. As God Complex take that point, 7 minutes on the clock, 3 objective locations to take here. A bit of a tricky uphill fight here for God Complex coming up. But if they can get some of the points early, I think they're going to be in a good shot here for the last stage. And then it will all be down to which team wants it more.
Plenty of time for God Complex, not ideal for NIP. Thinking most of these fights, that God Complex always come out on top, and it comes to long, drawn-out stages like this. So I think it's key that they don't give God Complex too much area control, and it looks like Yuriku's going to stick with the DMR AV. I think he will eventually switch back to the Scout.
Well, Skanta has gone back to the Scout, at least for this. Huizenus does manage to get out. He does a bit of Objective E. I'm not sure if it's enough to get a checkpoint on Objective E, but we'll wait and see. As Yuriku does manage to spot Skanta as he climbs up the stairs, uses the spotter to keep an eye on where he is behind cover. Skanta trying to nade Yuriku as Yuriku backs off smartly to avoid the nade. Yuriku pushing back up now to try and get Skanta, but both sides not really finding angles here. Smart nade coming in from Skanta as Huizenus pushes in from behind, gets the kill. Infi does manage to get Skippy though, so it is a 2v2 scenario once again as Huizenus is on low HP. It'll depend on where the other members of NIP are to help defend this. Infi does manage to find Yuriku in a bad spot, but Yuriku's managing to hold down quite well. Manages to stun Infi of all things. Trying to get the kill there, does get the kill. Pantsus now pushing in. Pantsus doing what he does best, taking out both Huizenus and Yuriku. Skanta now back in, using that car spawner on the north area, near Objective F. And it's another reset for God Complex. As
a moment to think how they're going to approach this.
As Skanta manages to find Skippy trying to sneak in out of sync from the rest of God Complex, to no avail.
Feels like God Complex have to work more together here. It kind of feels like they need probably a little bit more CQC.
I think their best bet will be solidify and get one of the points. Push NIP into a push
more
them
predictable spot, right?
Exactly.
I think so. I think as well, Cozy is providing quite a thorn in their side in those CQC areas, so it might not be best to go for that one early on.
Well, as
Yuriku's trying to find an opening on the south side, but trying to make himself useful.
Well, God Complex have deliberately slowed down here, causing a bit of confusion for NIP's side as Skanta gets an incredible shot on Yuriku there.
Incredible shot, yeah, indeed.
Almost pixel perfect. Skanta backing off now completely to reposition as quickly as he possibly can here. to not give God Complex the time to work out where he is. They do manage to get one of the graffiti points, though. They do manage to get, what was that, H?
Окей. Смотри на меня, Анис, чтобы он
Yeah.
меня ждал.
No, F, sorry, my mistake. It looks like they are starting to make their way onto objective E as well, as the entirety of God Complex have found a way in. They're now starting to take G, and they're slowly but surely pushing through and sweeping NIP off this objective, as NIP are just not in position to defend. Skippy, Huizness has a bit of a fight there with Scanter. Scanter managing to come out on top. Yuriku now in trouble, as he has been spotted by 2 members of NIP. Tries to run away, not having it. Yuriku gets the kill, gets killed by Scanter, who is basically saving it for his team. 3 minutes left on the clock, only 1 point left. That last push was incredible by God Complex, managing to get 2 of the more difficult objectives cleared. And now there's less areas and angles that NIP have to work with, but it also means that God Complex have less angles to worry about as well. So whether NIP decide to hold short and hold close, or stick to their strategy of holding as wide as possible and flanking round where necessary, we'll have to wait and see. But they can't afford to let God Complex sneak this one. They really won't want to take this to the last stage again. And as predicted, it looks like NIP are closing in and closing down their area of influence as God Complex start to close in and encircle from all angles. Well, no, my mistake. It looks like Skippy, Huizness and Yuriku are all going to try and push from the inside, from the south side here, as Huizness is going to try and find a flank here, but doesn't realise that Scanter's up above. Scanter gets a good nade on the vehicle. Will he take out the mobile home? We'll find out. Good nade there, manages to pick off the flank. Scanter getting the pick there. A very important pick as Infi and Pantsus tried to hold off the push from Yuriku and Skippy. Infi getting a few good shots on Yuriku, managing to take out Yuriku from behind the car. Skippy, the last one in, may try to sneak his way into the point here, but Pantsus is lingering around, watching that flank, as well as Scanter.
God Complex have the impossible task of going through an NIP turtle. I think they're going to have a lot of pressure on them right now to really get through this. I don't think this is a very bad position for God Complex to be in. There's not much time on the clock. They're getting desperate.
Well,
they need to get a pick early on right now.
Well, they found a way in. Scanter overextended into the range of 2 members from God Complex, as 2 members of God Complex have just rushed in. All 3 members of God Complex have just very aggressively pushed this. Infi does manage to get a pick. Huizness does get tapped by Scanter, but well, Infi's able to, I think, pick up the kill there, as Huizness manages to get the kill on Scanter, but it's not enough, as Pantsus and Infi manage to clean up the mess. And now it's a last desperate attempt by God Complex to try and brute force this. That almost worked. If they can do that again, with enough time, they'll be able to do this. 40 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be down to God Complex to push this all together as one team. All together, a very coordinated strike will be needed here. Looks like Skippy and Yuriku are in position to strike. So is Huizness. Here come the nades. They're going to try and spam nades in to soften whatever defense is left of NIP here. With only 25 seconds left on the clock, they're really going to have to think about pushing this as quickly as they can and as aggressively as possible. But Infi is now trying to get some damage onto the members pushing in. 2 members of God Complex push in. Good nade left there by Scanter, as Infi manages to pick up the kill on Huizness. Skippy is flanking around trying to get in. Infi does manage to find Yuriku and pick him off. I think that might be it. Infi gets the 3-man, wipes the entirety of God Complex off the face of the earth, and it is match point for NIP.
Just Infi for a moment there, stepping into the Matrix and getting a 3-piece chicken. Absolutely impressive play from the Oscar.
A nice Morgan Freeman there for Infi to finish off that round. And as I said before, I think that's the crucial round. That's the critical round of this entire match. With NIP now on match point, it's all in God Complex's. It's all the work for God Complex now. They have to win this one, and then win an additional 2 in a row in order to win this competition. And as we've seen so far, with both teams being equally skilled with different strategies, it's all the work on God Complex now, and NIP are probably going to be a little bit more confident and possibly a little bit calmer now, knowing that they've got a bit of a safety net if things go wrong.
I think that's what God Complex want from them, though. I think they want them to be complacent. They want them to be, rest a bit. It's important for NIP to not let themselves get into this position. They need to keep the pressure up, and they need to play the exact same they did last time. They can't hope for themselves to, they can't act themselves and react to themselves where they feel a bit relieved. No, they can't let that happen.
No,
Look at all
absolutely
these
not.
Tension horse, man.
I don't think NIP are going to relax or ease off the pedal, but I don't think they're going to be as nervous into this final match, potentially final round, as
So
much
they
as they
don't cloud
were.
their mind with that then.
Absolutely. Looks like there's a little break coming in from NIP, which may not be good. They may lose a bit of their momentum and confidence going into this potentially last round, but we'll have to wait and see. Very good play from both teams there. God Complex pulling out everything from the playbook to try and find a way to push all three objectives. And, well, NIP probably taking lessons from the last time, knowing that their defense can be a bit wavy on occasion, managing to secure that for just long enough, preventing God Complex's brutal assault at the end there as all three members try to rush in as fast as possible and push NIP off the defensive positions. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and it was too little, too late, as NIP were able to secure that with time to spare. Can we expect to see God Complex play more aggressively now and go all out as everything is on the line? Or will we see them stay to what they're comfortable with? Keep choosing strategies, find the one that works, try to push their way through NIP's defences, and in this case come up with a defensive strategy to prevent NIP's relentless aggression on occasions. It was very smart of God Complex to slow down a little bit and not just push in quickly one after a time, because the other team will get used to that. They'll know when they're going to come in, and it's more predictable of which angles they're going to take. So God Complex taking a couple of seconds, taking half a minute, just to reposition, mask where they are, and then push in all together without NIP being set up for it was very smart. It unfortunately wasn't enough, and NIP were ready to take them on. But if we see more of that, I think God Complex can still pull something off here. I think they can still win this. But it'll be down to whether or not NIP still have the strength to go on. And we're on to the next match here. Match point for NIP. This could be the last round of the competition. It's economic recovery with NIP on the attack here. Infi getting an initial lead here. Pantsus ahead of him, as they will try to get to these investigation points as soon as possible. Not in the greatest of spots here. There's a fantastic cover point here for Yuriku if he decides to go for the school roof across the street to the east and defend it. But instead, they're looking like they're going to hold short. Huizenus gets the first pick on Infi. Pantsus managing to get a pick on Yuriku as Scanter now starts to make his way in. Scanter getting caught in between a rock and a hard place here, in between two members of God Complex. As Huizenus does manage to find Pantsus. Skippy getting a good nade there on Infi. And now God Complex can set up, get comfortable, and it's all the work on NIP to push through this. They did manage to get one of the objectives at least, so the only one to go, 4 minutes on the clock. So how will NIP approach this defensive line, or defensive wall from...
First, it looks like
God
Scantor
Complex?
was trying to get upper control on the high school to the east.
With a DMR AV as well, that's going to be very powerful if he can keep the range. Scantor not...
God Complex are expecting such a thing, it looks like, but nothing's really happening yet. I think Scantor's waiting for some teammates to cause some distractions.
Pantsus trying to dive in here, getting tagged by Yuriku.
Scantor getting spotted. Looks like Scantor's now off the roof, he's been spotted.
Now opting to push in as quickly as possible to assist his team up close. God Complex using those small hallways to their advantage, trying to hold a different angle here that's not helpful for NIP to push. Trying to get a push in here, Infi trying to flank from behind, not able to do so as Yuriku manages to escape that. Now Scanter's in position to get a few shots on, does 40 damage to Yuriku. Yuriku just gets systematically eliminated by all three members of NIP, completely encircling him and locking him out of any cover. As now Skippy tries to hold from the balcony, drops down. Scanter does spot him. Huizenus does get a good nade on Infi, so it's a 2v3. They do manage to get the objective at least without having to kill the rest of the members of God Complex, but Huizenus does fall to Scanter there. As Scanter still starts to make his way out and starts to make his way to the next point. But God Complex got some decent spawns there. They're already ready to defend this.
Looks like NIP are just looking to get on the objective, full on blocking it with the van.
С точкой.
Делай, 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 нет?
This nade's inbound, they held off the objective.
Танк, под станк.
Huizenist looking to drive straight in, but decides against it, doesn't think that odds on a 3v1 is very good.
Стойте там.
Skippy does manage to get a pick on Pantsus. It's now a 2v3 attacking incentive here, attacking position for NIP, as God Complex will try to utilise the fact that they're a man down. Infi does manage to get Huizenist, as Huizenist just gets locked out there. It's now a 2v2, unless Huizenist can get back in time. Skippy finding an angle on both Infi and Scanter. Not getting a kill on either, as Scanter manages to get away safely. This looks like a complete reset, as both teams are now trying to find angles on each other. Skippy finding an angle on Scanter, not able to finish him off though, as Scanter does get a hit on him. Skippy backs off slightly. Doesn't realise that Scanter actually pushes onto him, completely ignores that. Yuriku does get a pick, does get a hit onto Scanter. Scanter's doing the point now, as Huizenist comes in from another angle. As Scanter does Pantsus does manage to get Yuriku, but Huizenist is there defending from the outside on the east. It'll be down to either Infi or Pantsus to help this, as Scanter is quickly resupplying.
Huizenist facing the possible task of a 3v1 and is eliminated swiftly. Looks like NIP will get the objective and move on to the next stage.
NIP playing much more as a team now. They have definitely changed strategy here. And God Complex, again, gonna have to change it up, be flexible, try something different.
God Complex are keeping the pressure up, it's just they don't seem to have enough of it going on. They seem to get picked up off each other, and they don't seem to back each other up as much. It's a very scrappy defense. They need more time, I think, to set up and not give NIP the space that they so need.
But more importantly, NIP are just using the confusion from God Complex, who are unable to set up properly, to just push in as hard as possible, and it is playing straight into NIP's...
Seem to revel off the chaos.
Exactly. Playing right into NIP's hands and letting them just rush through, because that's what they're used to. That is the kind of team they are. Very aggressive pushes and not letting the other team set up. But here we go. Here's another desperate push by... another desperate push there by God Complex to try and get them... try and defend the point, but unable to do so, as NIP using that momentum and speed that they are very well known for, to just go from objective to objective and not let the defense really set up at all. Not a great spot for the last 3 items going into the scavenger hunt here, but if NIP can get the items out comfortably from this position, they might be able to start this without even God Complex saying hello.
This could be a very awkward finale. Who knows what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of car gameplay and a lot of explosions very soon to go out.
Yuriku's definitely going to be a key player for God Complex here with that DMR AV. He's going to be able to stop NIP from moving the items away. They do have 2. They've managed to get to the final stage, and just like I said, God Complex are not there in time to defend it. All 3 items in the hands of each individual player from NIP. They're trying to stop the vehicles, but they're unable to do so. Trying to get a pick on Pantsus there, not able to do so. They're trying to finish off Scanter's car, but Infi's ahead. He's going to get at least one of the items onto the drop-off here, as both Scanter and Infi now get into a kerfuffle with Huizenist and Yuriku, as here comes that DMR AV from Scanter doing a lot of damage to the vehicle, but Yuriku and Huizenist have managed to find a way in, as the 3rd item makes its way into the play area for the NIP drop-off. Skippy manages to join the fight here, as Scanter's in trouble. Skippy manages to find Scanter. Pantsus picks up the kill, as we've got a bit of a fight inside here between Infi and Yuriku. Neither team able to get a kill here. Managing to get the kill there finally. Huizenist picking up the kill there, but Yuriku's in trouble here, as Pantsus trying to find a pick onto Yuriku. Yuriku manages to escape safely. Huizenist is still in. Pantsus still there, trying to stop God Complex from repositioning, as Scanter gets spotted moving his way in above. Nice nade attempt there by Scanter, trying to find Yuriku. No luck though. Yuriku going for the NTEC 7C New Glory of all things. I didn't think I'd see that weapon in this tournament.
It's quite a good weapon for situations like this, I think, where you don't really know whether you need CQC or a little bit of range. But unfortunately, it's pretty average at everything it does. But it's a bit of a oddball weapon.
That was almost a fantastic play by Yuriku there, managing to single-handedly take out 2 of the members of NIP before falling to Infi's Oscar, but he played exceptionally well there with the NTEC 7C, bringing these unconventional weapon loadouts that the other team might not be used to. The other 2 items have not been dropped off yet. Pantsus and Infi not opting to drop off the last 2 items as they're expecting more members of God Complex to rush in, as Skippy manages to delay them a little bit. God Complex managed to sneak one of the items out, taking a leaf out of, taking a page out of NIP's book there, running distraction, grabbing the item and running away. Very smart, and they're able to get away with it.
It's just how would God Complex do with such a situation that such a heavy hitter like Yuriku is taken out of the fight to drop off an item? It's with Huzinus and Skippy be able to pick up the slack, and it looks like they will. Huzinus takes out 2 from Scanter and Infi. Just 1 remaining.
He did get naded, so he's going to be in a spot of bother here if Pantsus decides to push this, but Pantsu's in a 1v2 scenario now on his own. No good spawn there for NIP. They have no car spawner near their objective, or Scanter used his car spawn already. They have managed to get the items off the point, Skippy finally managing to pick off Pantsus, and this flaky defense from NIP is causing a problem once again, as 2 members of God Complex are just causing so much problems for the entire team of NIP. Scanter getting some great hits there on Skippy as he runs into the car spawner, but here comes Yuriku. The 3rd member of God Complex is now in the fight. It's only Infi and Pantsus in the fight here, as both members of God Complex are now moving the items. Skippy providing support here as he tries to push Scanter off this corner, doing so quite comfortably. Scanter in trouble here.
Managing to managed to get the 2nd item out. NIP are now on the back foot.
This flaky defense from NIP is really causing a problem for them, and they're going to have to do something here because they're going to be on the back foot in a moment.
It's definitely time for them to change tack and reevaluate the situation. I think this last item that they're holding into is probably not the play right now. Pantsus and Yuriku dishing it out. And Yuriku showing how it's done, how to use the NTEC 7.
Managing to take out an OCA in close quarters, very well played. And here they go, they're managing to drop off one of their items. You know what, I think NIP may have snuck one of the items out. No, they didn't. The item is still in Yuriku's car. Or not, it's in Pantsus' car actually. As there goes Pantsus' car, and Yuriku's going to be able to drop off another item. They have the lead as well, so it's all down to NIP to make a change here, but NIP are nowhere near. They're still waiting by their drop.
NIP are a little bit too focused on their original base. They might need to change. Yes, looks like they are. They are now attacking God Complex's base.
Pantsus managing to get a pick on Yuriku there. Skippy picking up the kill. Infi's now going to have all his work cut out for him as Scanter finally joins this fight. Finally joining in on this fight. Yuriku going to get a fantastic car spawn just north of the objective, northwest of the objective more specifically. Skippy in a bad spot here, but manages to find cover just before both Pantsus and Scanter. Pantsus using the car spawner there. They managed to get the items off the drop. In fact, both teams no longer have items on their point, as God Complex ran one of their team members to grab the last point from NIP. As Scanter jumps in to try and pick off Yuriku dropping off the point there. Manages to do so, but Skippy's still in. Manages to take out Pantsus. Skippy doing an incredible amount of work with the Oscar here. And managing to take out Scanter as well. Getting a 3-man there. Fantastic play from...
Possible play of the game for Skippy there. Managing to keep God Complex in. God Complex will now probably get the lead. No, Infi manages to take out Skippy. Yuriku's back quick though, and he's driving down the hallway from the east.
Infi managing to get the 2nd item into a more comfortable position for them to move away with it. They have got 2 of the items out away from the objective, the enemy base. And Skippy now's been spotted by Scanter. Scanter's going to try and now get an angle on Skippy.
So we're on Yuriku now. Will he be able to delay them enough time?
Pantsus gets a pick on Skippy. It's going to be down to NIP's coordination here to start getting these items out, or are they going to opt to try and get Yuriku, as Yuriku holds the angle very well, takes out Infi, and the members of God Complex are going to start making their way in anytime soon, as they're only 20 meters behind Yuriku hears. Pantsus desperately tries to get one of the items out in his Vegas. Manages to do so.
Там один был где-то еще.
That's what he needs to do. There's only 3 minutes left on the clock, but will that be a mistake on NIP's part? Because he is now out of the fight. There's still 2 items remaining on the objective for...
Huizness gets 4 tagged there. And they're trying to nade Scanter off this angle. As Yuriku pushes, dies. Skippy does get a nade kill on him. But they still have 2 items there. It's not going to be enough unless Imphy's in the area as well. There's not going to be much they can do here. Imphy is in the area ready to strike, but
he is quite far back, and Scanter is also pretty far down.
And it looks like Imphy might get flanked by a GG spawn here. They do manage...
Looks like God Complex isn't gonna contest NIP's base, and this is all... It's all gonna come down to God Complex's base now. Who is gonna disrupt points? Like, just as I say that, Yuriku is now driving away to disrupt NIP's points, so...
Well, Skippy...
It's all up in the air right now.
Skippy does get taken out by Imphy there, as Huizness does pick off Imphy. Huizness does get picked off by Scanter. Scanter does get the last 2 items off the base of God Complex.
Looks like Yuriku is going to get the items off God Complex, off NIP's base, so... Looks like advantage may come into God Complex. They might win this stage.
I think they're going to just defend NIP's base here. I don't think they're going to try and grab the last point. As Skippy tries to rush in and grab the and try to pick off Scanter, not able to do so. As Scanter will take the last item and get out, possibly. We're not sure yet. He's having a bit of difficulty juggling the item, as Imphy's there waiting. Pantsus on his own, making a desperate attempt to drop off one of the items here. He's going to get caught out if he's not careful. Yuriku's going to get some good nades on him. Tries to nade it. Pantsus now in a fight between both Huizness and Yuriku. Unfortunately loses the item. He's on his own here. They're in
desperate situation now for NIP.
Desperation tactics here. They do manage to get 2 of the items, but looking like they're going to try and run away with 2 of the items in a Vegas 4x4. Will NIP be able to do anything about this? We don't know, but there goes God Complex with 2 of the items. The last item is in possession of NIP, and they will drop it off here as Skippy runs desperation tactics against Imphy, manages to kill them. The last 2 members of God Complex are actually in NIP's base here, ready to take the 3rd item. NIP really on the back foot here. I don't think they've got any options left. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock.
Very well played from God Complex. I think NIP just dropped the ball there. They had control at the start, but they should not have let God Complex drive away with the item and unharassed like that. They built up too much points and took the fights in the wrong areas. Valiant effort by NIP, but I think for the sake of it, God Complex just played a little bit smarter.
They played a lot smarter.
With a little bit more long-term thought.
And they needed to, because now we're going into that all-important overtime. God Complex managing to stave away a loss there at the very last moment and managing to bring this back in their favour. They only won by 2 points there. That was incredibly close. But now NIP's got to think, well, what went wrong? What do we do differently? And this is it. We are into overtime. It looks like another 5-minute break is coming out.
It's just the tricky part for this overtime now is, do they have to win 2 rounds in a row?
They do. They have to win an attack and a defense. So both teams are going to be looking to change their strategy here.
Yeah, and both teams are kind of traded wins and losses. I don't think one team's got a single, combo win.
I don't think so, no. We've seen both teams do very well on attack and both teams kind of struggle a little bit on defense. So what's going to happen here is we're going to see hopefully both teams looking to change how they approach defenses, as NIP have certainly been very flaky on defense. They've either been very, very good or, well, unfortunately not doing enough. to stop God Complex from pushing through. And God Complex really had a strategy for that 3-point scavenger and played it very, very well, managing to get the items over to their point, defend it, control it, put the items on, and then hold it. NIP just doing what they can to possibly sneak items out, but too little too late. God Complex knew what to do in that situation and, well, appointed resources accordingly to where they needed to be.
We are just waiting for God Complex's timeout to run its course.
It's lagging here.
Excuse me while I
losing a mission
for a
because
toilet break.
No problem.
Yeah, we didn't play that so fucking well. Like, we won every single fight on items until the last.
Oh.
Good shit, man.
Then we have to stay 1 hour after.
If you just OC8 I swear to God, it's...
No! You...
Что за миссию берем?
Ну, остается, типа, знать, что, типа, может, говорил, доставка, но там будет машина.
Где они будут атаковать? Давай возьмем это Just
Да,
вот
вот я про это и говорю.
Мы ready, да?
Сейчас вот. Скайп, да?
Ты ready, Skype?
Алло, меня слышно?
Just a quick reminder to all the viewers at home who want to watch this live in-game, as opposed to watching the stream or watching the channels individually. While we do appreciate all the enthusiasm and support you have for your teams, please give them enough space to get their mission started and please do your best not to push their cars around or grief their cars at all. Please give them the space they require and just respect the fact that they are doing these missions for you and for this tournament. Thank you.
Я же даже вам миссию не сказал.
Я не знаю.
Ты откуда знаешь, что когда машину надо делать?
А если делать машину, мы проиграем, они же будут грифить.
Да не надо, думаю, эту машину делать. Мы делали вчера, играл эту миссию, думаю.
Точно уверен, что машину не надо делать?
Блять.
Если не точно, лучше не надо.
Ну, у нас миссий другие нет. Или эту миссию беру, которая вторая, которую Крюш отправил.
Спроси, они тебе... Ну давай, пиши то. Они разные вас, да. Пофиг, рискуем так, да, тогда? Пофиг, я не знаю, что это за миссия, рискуем, да?
Ну да.
Да, Ред, все, соберись, ты жестко играешь, давай, блядь, разъебишь, блядь, соберись, а? Все, погнали, пацаны, мы все вместе, мы играем как команда, все, мы их разъебем, нахуй. Давайте, пацаны, мы сможем, все играем вместе и жестко, блядь. Просто жестко играем.
And it looks like we're ready to kick off here the overtime match 1 as God Complex have gone for, as expected, no unaccompanied G-Kings. Another very easy attack mission for God Complex to succeed in here. And they may just take the initiative on this overtime and possibly put NIP on the back foot. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, here we go. The first overtime match. God Complex on the attack, NIP on defense. Remember, they have to win 2 matches in a row, back-to-back, in order to win this competition overall. And as I've mentioned, God Complex opting for one of the very easiest of or one of the easiest missions to attack
Самый прав, точно.
in the game,
So they
along
want to
with
get the nip.
ROAR.
They want to nip this in the bud and get their easy 2 wins to see how this plays out.
Well, Infi's not going to allow it as he gets a first pick onto Skippy there, swapping out from his Oscar to go to an OCA. They do manage to get both objectives quickly, and they are moving well on their way onto the next objectives here. Not slowing down, not stopping, not waiting around to fight unnecessarily, as these stages are going to be very difficult to defend.
То же самое, да, про миссии?
As NIP start to make their way in, they do find Huizness, who gets picked off by Infi. So NIP are definitely winning the engagements here more often than not, but they are not holding the objectives. As God Complex start to make their way up the stairs, Scanter is there, ready and waiting, managing to pick off Skippy, as Yuriko is the last man in. Here comes the DMRAV from Scanter, not able to finish him off though. Yuriko just barely surviving that, as he will now try to counter-attack here. Probably going to wait for his teammates though, who have spawned to the west by the other car spawn and near the mist. Yuriko just holding position here, Pantsus trying to keep an eye on him, find out where he is, what he's doing, as Infi takes the initiative and flanks Yuriko. So now it's another 2v3 scenario for God Complex to push this. Again, not the most difficult objective to attack, but I think they're going to want to get rid of NIP from this area, force them to all respawn before doing this objective. NIP,
they're going to maximize how much time they got available first. Just try and be as efficient as possible.
Absolutely.
They don't want to give God Complex the NIP the chance to rebound back after retaking this. I think going to want to dissect this point first.
Well, they are discussing how they want to do this. They're looking to just go for the objectives now, actually, as Yuriko just gets some free hits onto the objectives, manages to get them both, and we're on to the final
luck
stage.
Is on their side. They're ready in cars and ready to go. Looks like NIP will be not the first ones on the objective here.
Well, it's going to be close. Yuriko and Pantsus are going through the park together here. Yuriko is on the other side, will get to the point first, but Pantsus and Scanter are both going to be there, as the third members of both teams are slowly making their way in. Yuriko trying to get the initial points on the scoreboard here, and he'll be able to do so as they take the point here. It's now all down to NIP to take this back, as God Complex being very efficient here and already taking up good defensive positions to hold this from an NIP attack.
And they've opened up all their windows as well, creating a lot of sight lines for their long range. NIP have a very difficult task now to try and root out all this range. Scanter with the anti-vehicle weapon, probably not the most ideal choice.
Yuriko and Huizness posting up across the street from the objective, going to use range to their advantage here, as Scanter gets into a good position here to start taking the point. He's going to try and sneak this. Not the best idea. We know how good God Complex are. Pantsus does manage to get the flank of Skippy and pick him off. Yuriko's going to hold this, as Huizness will now close the distance on Scanter and force him into a close quarters engagement here, as Yuriko is starting to put some pressure on, but Infi is holding him down, so it is now more in control of NIP than God Complex, but Yuriko's still able to put pressure on and is stalling NIP a lot here on his own, as NIP are just being a little bit too slow to push this. Finally, Pantsus making a push onto Yuriko and keeping him at bay, manages to get the nade. Yuriko manages to respond and get the nade onto Pantsus as well. 2v2 now, with both Skippy and Huizness pushing from different angles, trying to lock down the individual members of NIP. Not able to do so, as NIP are making appropriate maneuvers here, as Skippy does manage to take out Scanter, but Infi picks up the mess, manages to hold the line, and force a reset from God Complex.
From God Complex, they need to not give Scanter so much space like that. They're definitely respecting him as a player, and they're definitely afraid to fight him head on. But there reaches a point where you just got to get out and kill him. He's holding a very dodgy spot.
God Complex playing very smart here with the car, trying to push Infi out of cover and get the teammates to help. Not enough though. Infi manages to pick up the kill, as Scanter unfortunately tries to get the flank on Huizness. Does get assisted by Pantsus. Pantsus does manage to pick up the kill, but now Skippy is putting some shots into Pantsus here, and manages to finish him off. But both Infi and Scanta are now going to get some good spawns here. Scanta getting a really good spawn to cover this. And Infi in a good position to take on Skippy as he manages to pick him off. Yuriku in a good position here to take on Infi. Manages to find Infi, does drop Infi, does get tagged.
Whoisness is on the point capturing it for God Complex. I don't think Scanta has a view on that.
And I don't think he'll be able to either, as Yuriku is holding a very good sightline here, preventing Scanta from defending the point. As he now comes under threat from Pantsus, Pantsus gets immediately binned by a very good nade and FBW combo there. Yuriku now in a great
Scanta
position.
is kind of trapped in a position, but does God Complex know where he is? I don't think they do.
Well, they're going to look for him, and Scanta's going to be in
now
trouble
he's
here.
identified. Skippy's going to quickly return and introduce an Oscar to himself. He's going to change weapons. And he's caught off guard.
Again, this very systematic play by God Complex and positioning is really winning out these fights. And NIP, while they're definitely a little bit unpredictable and more aggressive, are losing to this organization of God Complex. They're all well organized, they're all in position, they're all fulfilling their roles correctly. And now that's reflected on the scoreboard as God Complex take the lead in this. God Complex really in fantastic positions here. And NIP need an answer, or they're going to run out of time and run out of options. As Yuriku uses that DMR AV to his advantage, taking out Pantsus' vehicle, or at least heavily damaging it. Pantsus trying to get on the point here, but that car's going to blow any second. And it does. Pantsus still in. Scanta able to assist here as they do take up a closer position to the objective. Trying to get angles on Yuriku. Managing to tag Yuriku twice. Yuriku's in a lot of trouble here. Does manage to get picked off as Scanta gets a very nice little shot there. Trying to find Huizus now, who's covering from the other side. Scanta trying to find the shots here, not able to. They do manage to take the point though and secure the area and get it under control as all three members of NIP reacting to the angles that God Complex provide and not really spacing themselves out as well, but well, it's working.
Not much time left on the clock. God Complex have the point advantage, but they've got to play retake. And they have a lot of points to clear and angles to check.
Well, NIP don't necessarily hold angles as well, and we know their defense is a little flaky. They like to push the points rather than defend from an angle, and that's working in God Complex's favour here as they like those fights to happen. Infi does get a pick on Skippy. Infi also manages to take out Yuriku, but again, two members of NIP flanked all the way over there to do that. And if they weren't able to do so quickly enough, God Complex could have pushed Scanta on his own and really put him under pressure here. 1 minute left on the clock.
Push. 1 minute left and not much points difference, so this looks like it could be the last push from God Complex.
Which doorway? What do you mean?
I mean, wait, Skippy, stop southwest. Up southwest.
You're gonna get northeast, you coast. Venus.
Yuriku now looking to try and get a different angle here.
I'm dead.
Skippy down by Scanta, a good two-shot there. They're now pushing from all different angles, and once again, NIP are trying to react to everything, but not able to do so. Huizness does jump out. Infi does manage to get the kill there by blowing up the car. Yuriku's trying to find a way in. He's not going to be able to with only 25 seconds left. He's going to have to hope for all his team members to be in striking distance here and push this aggressively. And it sounds like NIP are going to try and lock this down as much as possible as they start to now finally hold angles in the last critical seconds. Yuriku making a desperate attempt here to push in at the last second. And Infi does manage to hold it. Infi manages to get that all-important kill on Yuriku, as Skippy does manage to pick out Scanta. But it's too little too late. Match point once again to NIP.
I'm supporting APB. More viewership, more PR, bro.
Like, Oscar's so shit.
Hey, let's just fucking, let's win, let's fucking...
Very unfortunate loss to God Complex. They had it all in them, but I think they just let it through their hands, and now they are definitely on the back foot, and they must find a way to stop this momentum that NIP are bringing to the table. And I think Infi has definitely stepped up. He's definitely played very well that stage. Made up for the slack that was happening in the team, but once again, I think he's another one of those players that really wants to get into the post-match interview.
Well, NIP's strategy there of rotating as frequently as possible thankfully worked out for them there. Based on how God Complex were playing, I didn't think that was going to work, but they were able to do it quickly enough to prevent God Complex from getting the valuable flanks in and the quick rotations in. And even though God Complex were playing methodically, strategically, and trying to get sightlines and really encircle and entrap the members of NIP were just slipping through their fingers multiple times and able to push each member of God Complex individually and win those all-important fights. But that could have swung either way, and God Complex really were on the cusp of winning that. But now they're on the back foot again. It's all down to them to win this all-important next match, as NIP have once again an opportunity to win this final and be the champions of this tournament. Some last-minute changes here coming in from NIP as they make a few quick changes to get ready. They are on the attack. They're going to have to do a good attack, and then they're going to have to win a last stage, so it's all to play for. And they have their work cut out for them if they want to not only breach God Complex's defences enough times and keep the speed up, but they also have to convincingly beat them in the last stage as well. So an uphill struggle here for NIP to take this competition away from God Complex, but they are in match point position. They are in winning position, and God Complex have all the work cut out for them. If God Complex want to win this, they're going to have to win 3 matches in a row.
You think they're shook right now?
I don't know. Do you think God Complex have it in them to win 3 in a row, Shini?
I think they do. It's just, it's all up to Nip though. It's whether they're going to make enough mistakes, and God Complex will take advantage of it. So I don't know.
Can we choose the
If
same
NIP keep it up and just don't make mistakes, then they'll get it through. But I think God Complex, you give them any sort of room, they'll come back steamrolling.
That's the main thing. That while the defense of NIP is very flaky, they do get back in quickly, and they favour the strategy of just running from point to point and taking sightlines rather than holding them. And while it was working in their favour in a couple of situations, God Complex's more methodical approach and more supportive approach of each team member has been able to quell it so far, keeping the scoreline as close as it is. And it's been keeping God Complex in this match, and NIP are really having to work for this. But God Complex do have it in them to win this. Very capable.
Yeah, it's just NIP seem to be taking advantage of the more passive playstyle of God Complex, I think. God Complex just don't let themselves get boxed in so much. They will prevail, but do they know this? I don't know.
Not sure. I mean, if NIP are given the space to rush in and don't get slowed down at all, that momentum could be enough to overcome God Complex. But if they can keep NIP in check and push them into favourable positions, then God Complex can run away with this. We'll have to see if they know this information and whether or not they will take note.
We should be able to play the same. This is ridiculous. They literally get vandalism every single time.
For viewership, man.
It's only fair if we get to choose same easy ones. Or it's not to.
Man, just fucking put it in the chat, man. Put the mission name on. Who cares? These guys have played like 3 vandalism missions.
Should be fine, to be
honest. They did cameras and vandalism. Just fucking put it in the chat, man. Who gives a fuck?
That's such easy missions, man. We should be allowed to play these missions.
Just waiting on a confirmation here on to what mission they can play.
And end up getting disqualified, dude. Wait, I'll DM Natsu on Discord. Dogfish.
Just getting some confirmation here on one particular ruling. Waiting for confirmation from CET.
Supposed to be a judge anyway in game, right? I don't know why there isn't. There usually is. I think. I'm asking Duckfish now. I don't know. He's not responding either. Like, they have been getting more strict with the rules though, so I don't want to risk getting disqualified because we do this. If we're not allowed to. Or have to play the mission all over again just because of this. I don't know.
So the rule book is being consulted, some technicalities being debated. Hopefully we can get over this soon.
Swag.
We just find
It is true, yeah, I know. But there's bigger problems with the rule set, in my opinion, anyway.
No, we should wait, bro.
It's like, should they even be pickable? That's the question.
We're the ones having
should
problems.
Any of them be pickable? But they've picked them. In my opinion, just go with it.
Anyone you want there?
Anyone we set some overtime, okay, so we can play the same.
Let's
we're playing.
On, boys.
Feed has gone down for team. Can't feed. We got the feedback. The feed is back.
You shoot their cars and shit, slow them down.
Take the Neko card or whatever.
Yeah, we can slow them down here. Okay. Oh, you're dead, right? I'll go. It's fine if you die, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's good, it's good.
They got up for the kill.
Давайте я агротек возьму, а вы две асычка, или наоборот. Я могу освоить.
Я возьму агротек, возьми осу лучше ты.
And, well, the technicality has been discussed, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and play the same mission. We'll have to wait and see what that does. But nonetheless, if you just missed it, Scanter did get picked off by Huisness, but Yuriku did get picked off by Imphy rushing him. We're on to stage 3 now, as it's another small item pickup in the mall. Whether or not NIP are going to get this quickly enough or not is going to be the question. But the problem now is that NIP lost this last time due to the vehicle being not only pre-damaged but in very defensible spots for God Complex, and they were able to lock down that vehicle. Whether or not NIP are going to make the same mistake again, we'll wait and see. But at the moment,
it could very well be a repeat because DMRs are out.
Absolutely.
I can go higher.
Nice.
Picking up G.
I'm getting C here.
As
What is he doing?
Imphy and Pantsus managed to pick off Yuriko and Skippy. They have got the vehicle, they've got the items, and Scanter is now on his way to the drop-off to see if he can defend that. But Yuriku has spawned in a great position here to actually start putting damage on the vehicle.
Yes, AD.
You have an item though, you have an item. Wait, just show presence, bro.
They do manage to drop off one of the items. Scanter manages to drop off his. Yuriku gets in prime position to stop that vehicle. And
Damage is being dealt.
it is
But it
indeed.
looks like he's...
They have double DMR.
And they manage to get the vehicle. Skippy manages to blow it up as Pantsus tries to get it out, but no luck. Infi has got a few small items on him. He'll probably want to deliver those before going for this vehicle.
That vehicle went down pretty fast. Have they got multiple
Oh, it's on
AVs
the-
on God Complex's side?
I think so, as Yuriku manages to get a pick there on Infi, as they now lose the small items on the overpass in 2 separate locations as well. This is going to be very difficult for NIP to push.
I think this might have been a misplay from NIP. I'm not sure why they would pick a mission that they previously lost on. And with God Complex stacking up AV, this is a very... This might be the chance that God Complex needed to have that mistake. Looks like they... This could be it. This could
And
be the stage.
Queasness does manage to get a pick on Scanter there, as Yuriku spots Pantsus. Pantsus trying to get a few hits on,
Yuriku just about making out with his life.
as Infi now tries to make a push, but Yuriku's getting some good shots onto Infi's car here. They do have double DMR AV by the sounds of it, as Scanter is trying to get a sneaky attack onto Huisness, doesn't manage to land it.
Yuriku looking to deal some more damage to the defenseless vehicle there. No one's inside. Car's going to go, but Yuriku still has the sight on the new objective for God Complex.
Nice.
Doesn't look like
Good play there by
doesn't look
Scanter.
like NIP are nearby to try and take it. So once again, Yuriku's
Yuriku's
dealing damage to the vehicle.
Pre-damaging the vehicle once again.
I think NIP would definitely need to get out all their blowtorches for this stage. This is I hope they identify this, because
No car on the
Complex
highway.
don't want to make a
now,
mistake here.
Yuriku's now in danger, but he has pre-damaged the vehicle, so that vehicle is not going anywhere.
He's blowing it up again.
It's an unfortunate gameplay tactic, but I can't feel any sympathy for NIP. I'm not sure why they would
The
pick
truck's
this mission again.
blow you at on the point.
Well, Huisness manages to get Scanter. Yuriku does drop to Pantsus, but they have to go. They need to go now. They can't waste any time. They have to get the car and go. And, well, God Complex still in great positions here to stop this and prevent them from moving. 2 minutes left on the clock. They haven't got a lot of time left. Scanter does spawn in line of sight of both Yuriku and Huisness and gets picked off very quickly. It's a bit of a distraction, but did NIP get to the point? They didn't. And
Complex showing dominance here, just absolutely locking down the point. But Infi has managed to steal the objective. But is the car too pre-damaged? Yes, it is. It is very much pre-damaged. Infi can't find a way out.
1 minute 40 on the clock. They haven't got long left. Yuriku does get picked off as Huisness makes his way over to the next objective quickly, as well as Skippy.
Skippy's car is damaged. Skippy's car is really damaged. Really damaged. I trust you guys to get the truck, man.
It's an absolute massacre out there. There's 2 anti-vehicles.
Away with it, man.
NIP are just letting themselves get killed like fish in a barrel here. Just look at that.
On you, join the car on you. Terminated.
NIP are stuck in the barrel, and you've
Coming
got
back.
God Complex shooting into that thing, and it's just
Hey,
an
this car,
absolute
Wait,
massacre.
I can get it. I can get it.
Pantsus managing to
I'm coming.
trying to get on the vehicle, not able to as Yuriku's waiting.
I can't get it. I can't get it.
The objective just spawns directly in front of Yuriku, who just died a second ago. It's an absolute disaster of gameplay mechanics, but here we
Wait
are.
1 minute. Wait 1 minute.
85.
Man.
Yuriku managing to pick off
He switched the ammo, remember?
Scanter there.
It's looking increasingly desperate. 40 seconds left.
I don't
A
think
lot
they're
of
going to get
damage
it.
has been dealt to the stationary object, and they're going to need to repair it
let's
before
go,
they
let's
get
go.
out. So it's not looking good. I have to question why NIP picked this mission.
I don't know why they decided to
They
pick this
saw
again.
earlier, they just went disastrous.
Shoot the car.
Pre-nading it.
Of course.
Who would have thought that APV's meta would shift into DMR AVs?
Never
I did
in my
not see
life.
this coming.
I thought you guys could get it before.
I couldn't because there's 2 there.
And again, they're able to take out the vehicle. NIP making a very big misplay here of doing this mission again, knowing what happened last time.
Push 20%.
We need.
God Complex
we need
allowing
someone to just keep
God
rushing
Complex
the truck
just
and get into the truck.
God Complex just
Probably be you and
pre-nading the vehicle, not letting it go anywhere, and as they pick it up, they pick them off.
I think the right play now is just NIP. Just please don't pick that mission again. Or if you are just gonna pick it, you better all be
Then we can
rocking
cover you. Just go to
blowtorches.
GMR.
Well, it's an overtime reset
We will? I don't know.
as we go into our second overtime here.
Oh well.
NIP are not going to be happy with that one.
We didn't even lose because they went DMR. We lost. We just played our shit together.
I just think that even with working as well as they were together, I just think that the anti-vehicle is just too damn strong. It's so overbearing just to keep, like, even with blowtorches, it's very hard. I mean, that mod just got nerfed itself.
The viewers loving this stuff.
Yeah. Nobody gives a shit about the viewers. Fuck the viewers, man.
What the? I hope Kemp's not watching your part.
NIP getting a little bit flustered by that, but again, they picked the mission. They chose to play the same mission again, the one that they lost on before, and they've now paid the consequences. And so here we are. 4 matches apiece, and either team in position here to take an advantage.
It's unfortunate. Like, IP definitely have it in them to win. They can't give them any chances. Missions included. Just pick blind justice and just to keep doing it.
Напиши сек.
Написал.
They'll probably pick ROAR or no unaccompanied G-Kings again. It's such a very easy attack mission and they don't actually have to worry about the objectives, they just have to win the last stage.
Yeah, just make it a battle of final stages. Just lean back into the final.
Давай покажем, блядь, долбоёб, тупым сильвером, блядь.
Погнали нахуй. Погнали!
Let's go!
Ah, good call from Kempington. Looks like we're having a ROAR.
Well, another easy vandalism mission here for God Complex. Not really an attack stage, it may as well just be a final stage, honestly, because there's no way NIP are going to be able to defend this.
Yeah, but who knows, maybe NIP might just pre-damage the points for themselves to get it to the final stage for them.
Possibly, if they're in position to do so. And here we go. Round 9. And overtime 3. Well, second overtime, match 1.
I think in my case, if I was in NIP shoes, I'd be very tilted and I'll be shooting those objectives. Just get it down to the final stage. Let's go.
Get it over and done with. 5 minutes
That's all that matters.
5 minutes to vandalise 2 shop fronts is a very easy task for God Complex, and especially at this level, shouldn't be any difficulty whatsoever for the attack to win this. Looks like they're already getting rid of the objectives, and there we are, we're on to stage 2. It's going to go straight to a final before we know it. Some small skirmishes here and there, but nothing really coming of it, as NIP try to get out of there as quickly as possible and get ready for the last stage. Yuriku
Do you think
already
the
well on
Vandalize
his
will
way.
spawn in front of the hospital again?
Not sure. It looks like it has spawned
I have
by
a
the
feel it would. It's the same spots, roughly.
roughly the same spots. We may see the final stage be similar here. They're opting to go for it straight away, not wasting any time here. NIP not in position, and instead we get across the park. Itmfi and Scanter in position here to get to the point first, but the other 2 members of God Complex are in position as well. There's going to be a tussle here before we get to see who gets to the scoreboard first.
Who will take objective Echo?
Potsu getting managing to run over Yuriku there, getting that all-important first kill in this final area, in this last stage. Skippy getting in trouble here with 2 members of NIP. Doesn't manage to escape. Potsu picks up the kill. Huizness is the last one left, northeast. Getting a sight line on the objective, preventing them from taking it. Car Spawner in a good position here as another member of God Complex respawns. Yuriku's in position here to help the attack. But Scanter's also in position here to take out that vehicle. And instead opts to switch to the target who ran out. Good choice as he manages to get Huizness. As 2 members of NIP rush in and drop Yuriku before he can respond. And there we go. NIP on the scoreboard. Skippy to the southwest, looking to try and soften the defense of NIP before the other members of God Complex push in.
weird lull in the battle here, as both teams wait to re-engage.
Well, it looks like God Complex are going to do what they do best, which is deliberately delay the attack, make NIP guess, and get them to relax a little bit. Pantsus getting hit twice there in a really bad situation.
Yuriku dissecting the defense and getting 2 tags on Cozy. Cozy's now down and out.
Yeah, there goes Pantsus. It's now left to Infi and Scanter, who are able to support each other, but NIP are slowly but surely weaving their way into the objective. Huisness dives the objective. That high burn fuel saving him as the nades come in. Huisness manages to get a pick on Infi. The nades onto Huisness aren't enough. Scanter's the last one in, and they have managed to just brute force their way in here and push NIP completely off. And as I said, that slight delay in their strategy was all they needed to push NIP off. Here comes NIP's counter-attack. Scanter gets the pick on Yuriku. Does a quick resupply as both Infi and Pantsus push from the same direction, just from slightly different areas, trying to find the members of God Complex who are just waiting in position to hold angles here. But NIP have just swept their way in. Infi providing defense and cover for Scanter as Scanter takes the point here, not wasting any time, wants to get the points in their favour. Skippy now trying to push Pantsus, as Pantsus kind of in trouble here. Carefully dealt with as Yuriku gets a pick on both Infi. Pantsus accidentally nades Scanter, and Huisness manages to take out Pantsus. Managing to take the point back. NIP with a little bit of a lead here. They are going to have to coordinate and work together here if they want to take this back. But hopefully they won't be too flustered by that. Skippy making his way in now, who has spotted Scanter. Scanter on his own. Scanter being pushed off here just by the presence of Skippy in his vehicle, as the other 2 members of NIP rush to react to Skippy here. Skippy's car in danger, as Infi might go to try and pick up this kill. And he does, softening the defense of God Complex, as it's now a 3v2 for God Complex here, or NIP rather. Pantsus in trouble, as Yuriku manages to pick up a kill there. Starts to get a few hits onto Scanter. No luck though. It's a 2v2
being
scenario.
an absolute thorn on their side. They still can't seem to root him out. Infi keep an eye on Yuriku, but I don't think Infi knows that Yuriku can see him.
Huisness getting a pick there on Scanter, as Infi now tries to make his way in, doesn't spot Yuriku, and Yuriku just holding a sightline comfortably there. That lead of NIP has now disappeared. 2 minutes 30 on the clock, with only with God Complex at the advantage here. Pantsus does manage to get the pick on Yuriku though. Scanter's going to start making his way back in. Does manage to spot Skippy at the back here. Keeps switching weapons, doesn't get the time to do the damage. Manages to hit him once, throw a nade in to soften him up and get him away from that angle. Infi manages to nade Huisness, and Skippy's the last man, as Pantsus picks up the kill there and manages to retake this point. But it's an advantage to God Complex as they have the point lead here. Only 2 minutes left on the clock. And NIP now going on the defense again. Will they be able to hold it? Scanter opting to switch back
He's
to
increasingly desperate for Yuriku here. He's trying to find the spots to go in, but every time he seems to get out, it just doesn't seem to have the most ideal spot. He's not doing enough damage to support his teammates. It looks like they're doing a big reset on their attack, and so they're ready for the next one.
They're encircling, closing the NIP members into a smaller area so they can push this more efficiently. It looks like NIP are going to get caught in this trap again and in this encirclement. They're all going to push together in vehicles. They're just waiting for the moment to strike. As NIP get closer and closer together, Skippy now making the big push. Not able to do anything, runs off behind the van, tries to nade Scanter. Scanter's now out of position. Skippy gets a pick onto Pantsus. Some more nades coming in here as Scanter's caught in between a rock and a hard place. Yuriku getting the pick onto Scanter here, and Infi manages to get Huisness, but he's on his own. Infi's down to
Complex
Skippy.
played that perfectly. They did hold back on their aggression a little bit, but they played it a little bit passively. But if anything, it was more tactical. They were very, very driven in that. They didn't push themselves too hard, but they
this is
chipped
it.
away at the team bit by bit.
This is it. 45 seconds on the clock. Well, less than that now. 40 seconds on the clock. It's all up to NIP to get this. They have the lead on points here, but they will need to take this back. Otherwise, well, God Complex will win this. Pantsus now diving in with the vehicle, managing to get the first pick, getting a pick onto Skippy. Only 20 seconds remaining. Huisness does manage to pick up Pantsus. Scanter's in a bad position here. The good nade onto Huisness. Invi does pick up the kill. Yuriko is the last one standing in close quarters. Not able to really do much here as he's he's delaying them long enough. Yuriko manages to run off. His team members back in, manages to pick off that. Infi's
that
dead.
might have been.
The nades are back.
They looks like they grabbed the
That's
port.
it. That looks like is it. No, they don't. And that's it. That's it. God Complex match point once again.
Absolutely Superman plays from Yuriku there, switching to the clutch CSG and absolutely dealing the damage that was needed and killing a critical kill on that guy there. Was that Infi? Yes.
Well, do you want to know what's more important there? They had car spawners in position. They set up everything correctly. They were in position to strike, and those car spawners basically saved them that mission as they were all able to respawn in very quickly and close, and NIP just not able to overcome it.
Just a masterclass on how to retake an objective. They were all very calm and going in there very slowly, meticulously taking off each player one by one. Absolutely well played by God Complex.
NIP in a similar position here on the back foot. They're really going to have to think about what they're going to do next, and they are now on the uphill struggle as they've now got an attack stage that they have to get to last point and they have to win the last stage, otherwise God Complex will win this tournament.
Technical difficulties from NIP's side. One of the members have crashed. We all know how long it takes for people to get back into this game once APB has crashed. Usually takes 10 minutes. My authentication code fails multiple times and never remembers, and I'm in the game in about 10 minutes. So with that note, I'll BRB, and we should be back to playing the final round, may possibly in about 10 minutes.
Well, this is it. God Complex are going to take that momentum and try and run away with it, and we're just going to wait for we're just waiting for NIP's members to get back in and ready to go. But it's now all on NIP. They have to attack and they have to win. If they don't, their journey is over. God Complex will take the championship. NIP have had multiple chances to win this and they made silly decisions, arguably. And now they're on the back foot. Are they just a little bit too flustered? Or are they going to be able to take it one notch, well, take it up a notch and put God Complex on the back foot again? But God Complex are always raising the bar, rising to the challenge NIP provides. And it'll be a case of who's got the more options, which team will run out of options first, and which team will not be able to go above and beyond.
Oh, world record timing on that restart from Scanter. So hope he comes back into the next match with as much momentum as that restart.
Speedrun any percent. Now NIP have got to pick a mission. Are they going to make the same mistake again and go for the same mission again and potentially lose it again on trying to move the vehicle? Or are they going to pick something different and just secure the final stage?
Something very different like Blind Justice, I think.
Never mind, they're going for Avenge of the Fallen. Well,
it's a mission that we've previously seen, and I think this is one that they managed to win. So let's hope for NIP's sake that this is it. This is the start of their comeback.
Well, they'll have to win 3 in a row if they want to win this. God Complex have already won the 2 that they need back to back. They only need 1 more. And now NIP are going to start feeling the strain of being behind. And here we go, Avenge the Fallen. Pick up, graffiti, drop off, and a point hold. all down to NIP now to stay in this. Match point for God Complex. We know they're good on defense. Are they going to be good enough for this?
Well,
Will it
Yuriku's
hold?
rocking the CSG and decided to stick with it. Maybe he feels something. This might be it for God Complex.
This might be the win they need.
Знаешь, скал?
Scanter not wasting any time here, getting straight on to the point. Going to try and pick it up quickly here, although he blocks himself with his own vehicle.
Давай, давай.
Gets caught out as a result. Yuriku gets the pick on Scanter there. They do manage to get the point though. I think Pantsus picked up the point and is going to start making his way out. Time added back to the clock. Pantsus does get a pick on Huisness as he tries to force his way up to the car spawner. Scanter is now back in and will join with his team to push this next objective as God Complex start making their way over to the objective first and probably setting up a good defense once again that we've seen from them.
I don't think I expect them to fully commit to a very sweaty defense here. It is just a pickup. I think that the next few stages might dictate things, how things go.
If they want it badly enough, they may just try to hold them here. Yuriku using...
It would be a smart thing to do, just drain your enemy as much as they can. They got so much to come back from.
Scanter diving straight in, getting in trouble here with Skippy, as Skippy manages to get the kill there onto Scanter. Although Scanter did a lot of damage to him, it's not going to be enough. No one in support for NIP there. And God Complex are holding some pretty nasty angles here. As Huisness finds Pantsus.
У меня один забирает.
Scanter now making his way back in from the car park. Does spot Yuriku up top.
У меня один.
As Yuriku tries to fix this vehicle as quickly as he can. But Scanter is looking to go for the item. They have spotted him. Skippy now in trouble as Imphy may now start to try and sneak this item out. Great nade there by Yuriku. Pantsus capitalizing on Yuriku's involvement there and taking him out as well. So NIP have got overpass control here. Imphy does die to Skippy's nade and Pantsus does manage to take out Skippy. So Pantsus going to have free roam to pick up this item. As Scanter and Co make their way back in and manage to get the item. They now have a spray point to do, which is nearby, and they're in position to defend this, so God Complex have all the work cut out for them to stop them from taking this. Imphy's already on the point. It's in a really good spot, actually, for them to defend, so this should be quite easy for NIP to take here. They shouldn't have too much resistance, and there we go. There goes the point. Skippy accidentally team-nading Huisness there. Not the best. Yuriku in trouble now, as Scanter makes his way out. Pantsus getting a pick on Skippy there. Yuriku the last man standing. Huisness has spawned back in. They've got a vehicle. But Pantsus is immediately rushing the objective with the items and will be there to drop it off before God Complex can do anything. I think they know this as well. They're waiting for the last stage. And here we go. It's a 3-point hold once again in a close quarters environment nonetheless, which I think is going to favour God Complex. We've seen them win the close quarter fights more often than not. And it's going to be whether or not Scanter's going to be able to help that much with the scout in this area. Managing to get a tag onto Skippy as Skippy throws some nades into the area to try and soften up NIP's attack onto the points. But here comes Yuriku from the opposite side here, looking to get a pick onto Imphy's vehicle as he drives past. Imphy getting into safety there, but looking to possibly re-push Yuriku's position as Yuriku backs off. Yuriku getting a good pick there on Imphy as Imphy tries to go for G. NIP on the scoreboard already with two objective points, but it is still anyone's game here as God Complex will have to make the effort to push through. We've seen them done it plenty of times before, but will they be able to do it again and have NIP change their tact to counter this? Pantsus getting a quick grenade kill or explosive kill onto Skippy there. Yuriku trying to find an angle. Finds Imphy with an Aces rifle.
Yuriku finds the Imphy again. Imphy's just seems to be getting killed at the start of every
Picks
round
him
here.
off, but Skippy is found by Scanter straight away, gives away his position, but does get the kill. Huizness and Yuriku in prime striking position here. They don't know where Pantsus is, but here we go. Here's the big push. Scanter does get naded. Here comes Huizness and Yuriku trying to push this. Great nade there by Scanter, picking off Huizness. Yuriku's on his own here. He's backing off slightly, but he's not giving up the position just yet. Scanter trying to look for him, not finding him. Yuriku's still
making a formidable defense here. I don't think God Complex have much options in how they want to play this. They've got to brute force one way and just hope for the RNG, and that was a great nade by Scanter indeed.
Fantastic nades there by NIP, completely saturating that hallway and not letting Yuriku escape.
It's very smart as well from NIP. They don't seem to care about the other objective at all. They seem to just be turtling up on the 2 objectives they can hold. I think God Complex have to absolutely just smash through those 2 objectives.
Well, they're playing very smart here, NIP. They're not doing as much of a free float strategy anymore. They're holding angles. They're starting to hold positions here. Yuriku, well, you might see that on a clip from his channel specifically. But Yuriku's nade got stuck in the wall above his head, and that was all that was left of Yuriku. He does get a quick respawn from pretty much the same position here, as Huizness does manage to get onto Objective H here, and none of the members of NIP are doing anything about it. Scanter still watching the wrong angle, waiting for a flank here. Infi does get spotted by Yuriku, as Yuriku's now making a push. Pantsus does manage to get Huizness, as Huizness gets Infi. Pantsu's now trying to get across before Yuriku gets the kill here. Yuriku's got a nade ready to go. Pantsu's still holding the position. Scanter, well, one of the members of NIP still in position here, but Yuriku manages to get Scanter. And here comes Yuriku. He's got no nades left, so Pantsus is going to be able to take this, but the other members of God Complex have got control of the other of the area, so they will be able to take Objective I here. So even though NIP have a considerable lead here, they are starting to lose ground and lose the objectives. This is not a good position for NIP.
Chaotic finale right now.
Pantsus trying to do some work there, not able to do anything, as both Skippy and Yuriku push in together, and they are going to get the last point here on the car park. Huizness running into a trap there left by Scanter, as Scanter does get a pick there and will start making his way in, but they are losing all 3 objectives now, and that lovely comfortable lead that NIP had all the way through this match is now going. And they are going to take one of the objectives here and at least start getting some more points on the scoreboard, but well, God Complex are starting to rotate out. There's going to either be a big fight at I, or NIP might try to pincer them and go for H and get them caught in between. And it looks like they're going to do just that, as Pantsus and Infi start making a push for Objective H rather than I, as Scanter takes up a good position overlooking Objective I, as Skippy, well, manages to sneak up behind and pick off Scanter. But here comes Infi and Pantsus. Huizness does get the pick on Infi here. But Pantsus in position to get this objective. Some good hits there by... really good hits there by Yuriku, managing to pick off Pantsus.
It's very big place from God Complex. I see that they are not letting themselves get, you know, snuck up upon. They know when the enemies are coming around, and now they've got 3 objectives. They're being very assertive for this final.
1 minute 50 on the clock. There's not many points left for either team. This might be it. God Complex are in winning position here. If they hold these 3 points, they're going to win this. NIP are taking one of the objectives, but is it going to be too little too late? They've got one of the objectives down. They're getting G. They need to get onto H and I right now. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, your champions of this tournament are God Complex.
Let's go!
It's very well played from God Complex.
Very well played.
Yeah, they once again, NIP gave them a little bit of space there, and that was their mistake. God Complex took advantage, and then they steamrolled through it. Textbook, from what I've seen from this entire tournament.
Да хватит писать, что?
Все, на интервью обещали. Обещали интервью. Обещали интервью.
Пиздец, выиграли,
ты
блядь.
знаешь, Скипер, ты знаешь, что Пенза теперь центр России, понял?
Выиграли, блядь!
Да, всё. Играем.
Unbelievable.
Oh my god!
It was too little, too late for NIP, and as much as they tried to hold it, God Complex just had the answer every time. And just like that, before we could even keep up with it, God Complex win the Run the Streets 3v3 tournament. And I think we're going to have a quick little chat with them. Well, what a fantastic way to end that. What an incredibly close match as well.
Indeed.
6-4 to God Complex on a reset overtime. But more important than that, they won 3 missions back to back. That is an incredible feat in of itself, of which 2 of those were attack missions. So very, very well played there by God Complex, and rightfully deserved. They are the champions. And I think we better have a quick word with them to see what they think of this. I think they're pretty happy, but let's have a little word. As I get the updated background here to represent what just happened, bear with me 1 second here. Where did that save? That saved in the wrong place. No? Should be there. And as represented on the screen, your champions, God Complex. Let's get them into the chat here right now. Let's have a quick look here. 1 second. Well, God Complex, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have won against probably one of the hardest teams in the competition.
Definitely.
Well, halfway through that match, it looked like you were on the back foot. What changed at that point? Because you were able to win 3 missions back to back, 2 of which were attack.
I guess that the one mission that we won, the 5th one, I think it was, where we got the lead. I think that mission just like motivated us super hard, and yeah, I guess that's the reason that we won now.
I see that time and time from you guys. You lose the first few missions or stages, but then suddenly you just wake up.
Yeah,
and you just keep
I don't know.
going,
I
and you just keep
don't know what.
going.
I really don't know what happened. But yeah.
Well, that was...
I don't even know. I can't even talk. I'm sorry.
Very excited, I'm sure. Well...
Oh my god.
Well, all of you can give yourselves a pat on the back because you have won, amongst other things, 140 euros. So congratulations.
Oh my god.
Did you expect it to... Well, sorry, 120, my mistake. Did you expect it to be as close as this?
Actually, we didn't. I thought it's gonna be like... we thought it's gonna be way easier than that, but fucking hell, that was super hard. I was sweating my ass off, really.
Do you think NIP made the bad decision to pick the same mission again?
I think they did, yeah.
With the cars? Because they lost it the first time, and I thought they were going to pick something different, but...
Yep. They shouldn't have done that, really, because we knew they would pick the same mission again, and we just prepared for that. And yeah, that's how it went, I guess.
Yeah. Well, question number 1 is, are we going to see you again for another tournament?
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. And
100%.
Have you got any last words to say to NIP?
Man, well played, really. Big respect to that, guys. They were really, really tough.
Well, go rest and relax. We'll...
Wait, my teammate wanted to say something also, I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Тебя не слышно. Is he muted? Okay, go. He wants to say something to the Russian fanbase, I guess.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Пацаны, мы выиграли этот турнир. Спасибо всем на турнире. Кто за нас болел, пацаны? Вы просто лучше. Этот турнир, как говорится, доказали то, что русские сильнее европейцев. Это была очень важная игра для нас. Вот серьезно, мы старались. Мы знали, что Кози is nice play. Кози, cozy. Nice, man. Nice.
All
Nice
right.
time.
Okay, well, he pretty much said that, well, he thanked all the people that were supporting him, and yeah, that's it, kind of.
Well, you all did a fantastic job, so stick around for now. Just rest and relax.
Yep.
We'll call upon you shortly just for the giveaways
All right.
of the prizes. But yeah, stick around.
Don't get drunk on vodka. Just don't.
No.
Wait until you've got the prizes and then use that money accordingly.
All right.
Well, thank you
Can you
very
guys
much
move
for your
us
time.
again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a way to end this off. What a fantastic final match from the teams. I couldn't have asked for anything better, and I'm hoping all of you enjoyed it. Now, we're going to have to get ready a little bit here for the final bits of the prize giveaway, and a giveaway for you, ladies and gentlemen, as well. So we're going to have to stop the stream for just 10-15 minutes while we get everything ready and in order. We're going to ask God Complex to just rest and relax a little bit, and we'll call on them to give out the prizes accordingly. And we may have one last little chat with them as well. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We will be with you very shortly to round off the proceedings. Don't go anywhere, because you'll miss out on some of the giveaways.